Chapter 198. Yes, that's it. Xiaoping stood where he was. He didn't even attack. Countless blood demon wolves rushed at him, and then they were shocked to death by a strong rebound force. The fiercer and stronger they worked, the faster they would die. Xiaoping, on the other hand, felt refreshed. This was equivalent to the top practice. The genuine qi in his body was surging, and the elixir energy contained in his body was being refined little by little. He felt that the genuine qi in his meridians was surging like the sea, flowing into the Baihui acupoint. This powerful genuine qi almost filled the entire Baihui acupoint, making a crashing sound. Once this acupoint was full of genuine qi, he could try to open the second acupoint and advance to the second heaven of the martial artist realm. Bang, bang, bang. In this way, the blood demon wolves attacked him one by one, and then were shaken away. They exploded in the air and turned into a mass of blood. The whole street was stained with blood, as if it had turned into a blood river. Congratulations. It took you 25 minutes and 36 seconds to kill all 1,000 blood demon wolves. You have passed the nightmare trial perfectly. At this time, a metallic voice resounded over the whole ruined city. What? Gone? All these blood demon wolves are dead? Xiaoping opened his eyes and looked at the blood demon wolves' bodies that had been smashed into pieces in the distance. Now none of these blood demon wolves could survive. They were all dead. He felt a little regretful. He had been immersed in cultivation just now, and the genuine qi in his body was surging. If he had cultivated for another half an hour, he estimated that the genuine qi in his body could fill the entire Baihui acupoint and reach the peak of the first heaven of the martial artist realm. At that time he could try to open the second acupoint. Congratulations to trial tester Huang for passing the nightmare trial of the first heaven of the martial artist realm without any loss. You have set a new record. You are rewarded with a King Realm secret manual, Kunpeng Step, and a 9 reincarnation elixir. At this time, the metallic voice sounded in the sky again. At the same time, a secret manual and a white porcelain bottle fell from the air. What? Xiaoping subconsciously took the secret manual and the white bottle. He blinked his eyes. There was actually a reward for passing this nightmare trial? What was going on? And at this moment, the entire Black Moon Pagoda shook and a dazzling light appeared. A few large golden words appeared in the air. Trial Challenger Huang passed the Fighter First Heaven's Nightmare Trial without any losses and created a new record for the Fighter Realm of the Black Moon Pagoda. Rewarded with a King Realm secret manual Kunpeng Steps, and a 9 Transformations Essence Nurturing Pill. This row of golden characters trembled, emitting a dazzling radiance that illuminated the entire tower. Even the sun in the sky couldn't compare to it. Indistinctly, the cries of tens of thousands of beasts could be heard, causing everything within 100 miles to tremble. Whether it was the people inside the Black Moon Tower or the people outside, they were all shocked. What? Someone passed the nightmare trial. Who is it? The group was shocked. In the past 10 years, no one had been able to pass the nightmare trial. Now, someone had actually completed it? That's not right. Even if someone passed the nightmare trial, the Black Moon Tower wouldn't make such a move. Some people expressed their suspicions, finding it hard to understand. There had been people who had passed the nightmare level trial before, but they hadn't announced it to the world like this. Didn't you hear? This trial taker set a record. He passed the nightmare trial without suffering any losses. That's why the Black Moon Tower announced it to the world. The entire Black Moon Tower is celebrating. You must be joking. Passing the nightmare trial without suffering any losses, is this guy a freak? This is unbelievable. Even if someone passed the nightmare trial with serious injuries, they would still be considered a peerless monster. But now, someone actually passed it without suffering any losses. What kind of god is this? No wonder he set a record. Even the Black Moon Tower was alarmed. It's unbelievable. Facing thousands of beasts of the same level, he could kill them without suffering any losses. What kind of monster is this? The crowd discussed animatedly. They were all very shocked and all of them were dumbfounded. They were very clear about what it meant to be able to set a record in the Black Moon Tower. As long as someone who could do this did not die along the way, he would definitely become an invincible King Realm powerhouse. That's right, this trial taker Huang. Is he the Huang who just defeated Frenzied Blade He Jun and offended Bloodhand's Crown Prince Lu Lai? Someone shouted, his face revealing an expression of disbelief. He clearly remembered that it was this kid who was going to participate in the nightmare trial. But not long after, there was news that he passed the nightmare trial and even set a record. Yes, it must be that kid. Other than that kid called Huang, who else could be called Huang? There were also people who were shocked. Because the name of the person who logged into the Black Moon Tower might be fake, but there was absolutely no repetition. It can't be. That stupid kid really passed the nightmare trial and even set a record. This is incredible. That Huang is definitely a peerless monster. He will become a King Realm powerhouse in the future. Just now I thought that kid was bragging. He said that he was a genius from his hometown and that he would become a King Realm powerhouse in the future. I didn't expect it to be true. That kid didn't lie. All the martial artists of the Black Moon Tower were shocked and dumbfounded. They simply did not dare to believe their eyes. That stupid, rich and arrogant bastard just now actually passed the nightmare trial and even set a record. This shocked the Black Moon Tower. This was something that had never happened in 100 years. If such a person was not a peerless monster, then no one had the right to call themselves a genius. When they thought of this, some people regretted to the point that their intestines turned green. If they knew that the kid was so powerful, they would have gone up to curry favor with him a long time ago. He was a King Realm powerhouse in the future. If they could obtain the friendship of such a person, then what would they have to worry about in the future? With such a thick thigh, they would not have to worry for the rest of their lives. Right? Didn't someone just say that as long as that Huang can pass the nightmare trial, he will eat shit on the spot? Now that he has passed, why don't you come and let everyone witness it? One person shouted as if he wanted the world to be in chaos. Yes, I still remember that there was another person who was also excited and wanted to join in and eat. Now come out and take a few steps and let everyone get to know him. Another person beside him laughed loudly. Get to know him. When they heard these words, the faces of the two people who said these words just now turned green. They did not even dare to breathe loudly. The two of them were like turtles hiding in the crowd, afraid that someone would discover them. The two of them even shrunk back and wanted to sneak away. Otherwise, if the surrounding martial artists found out that the two of them said these words, they might really be forced to eat shit. The two of them cursed in their hearts and felt extremely sullen. Damn it, they were only joking when they said these words. Who would have thought that the bastard would really pass the nightmare trial and even set a record? Chapter 199. On a spaceship at the airport of Black Moon City. With a snap, the crystal wine glass in Gu Peng's hand fell to the ground. With a crisp sound, it shattered into pieces and the wine spilled all over the ground. No way, is this a joke? He really passed the nightmare trial and even created a new record. Gu Peng was dumbfounded. He rubbed his eyes as if he couldn't believe what he saw. Just passing the nightmare trial was already a huge thing, but setting a new record was even more terrifying. Those who could do this were all world-shaking experts in the future. They had strength far beyond the King Realm, and they were truly the big shots who stood at the peak of countless martial arts experts. And this Xia Ping, it was very likely that he had such talent. Incredible, Master really recruited an incredible genius this time. Gu Peng sighed. He originally thought that this kid passing the hard trial was already amazing. But he didn't expect that he would actually pass the nightmare trial and even create a record. This was completely beyond his imagination. It could be said that Yi Ping's future achievements in martial arts might even be above his own. But creating a record and receiving a treasure from the Black Moon Tower might not be a blessing. I'm afraid it will cause many people to be greedy. Gu Peng's eyes flashed as he sat on his chair. He wanted nothing more than to call Xia Ping back immediately and let him pass the trial. But according to the rules of the giant company, just passing the Black Moon Tower's hard trial was not enough. He had to return to the airport safely for it to be considered over. If there was any big trouble during this period, he couldn't interfere and could only watch. A martial arts expert passing the Black Moon Tower trial and even created a record made all the martial artists in the Black Moon Tower excited. It also attracted the attention of many people in the underworld. Incredible, the youngsters nowadays are incredible. They can actually create a record. How many years has it been since I last saw something like this? He is indeed a genius, but if he dies prematurely then it's nothing. A dead genius is no different from an ordinary person. They are all corpses. Did you see that? This kid, Huang, has obtained an extraordinary reward for establishing this record. A King Realm cultivation technique, the rock steps, and a 9 transformation origin fostering pill. Both of these are supreme treasures. Many people from the underworld were discussing it, their eyes filled with greed. Such a huge and precious reward had also aroused the jealousy and desire of many cultivators. It really is a treasure. It's a King Realm cultivation technique. That's a precious cultivation technique that leads directly to the King Realm. It's priceless, and even tens of billions of Federation coins might not be able to buy it. An underworld figure clenched his fists, his eyes filled with desire. If I can get this secret manual, my combat power will be at least 2 to 3 times stronger than it is now, or even more. At that time, even the martial master realm will be within our reach. To a martial artist, a true top-notch martial technique secret manual was immeasurably beneficial. As for King Realm secret manuals, the increase in a martial artist's strength was not just a little bit. Ordinary martial techniques could be purchased in the major companies of Yanhuang Star, but King Realm secret manuals could not be bought even if one had money. They were true secrets that were treasured by countless martial arts organizations. On Yanhuang Star, martial techniques were also divided into several levels. Basic martial techniques, intermediate martial techniques, advanced martial techniques, master martial techniques, grandmaster martial techniques, and finally King Realm martial techniques. With each increase in level, the degree of preciousness would increase exponentially. One could imagine how much these underworld figures desired it. Although King Realm secret manuals are precious, what's really precious is the 9 transformation origin fostering pill. An underworld boss's eyes were extremely fanatical as he said excitedly, "Do you know what the origin fostering pill is? It's a peerless pill that consolidates the foundation, improves one's aptitude and enhances one's potential. Among them, the first transformation origin fostering pill is extremely precious. One can only be bought with tens of millions of Federation coins. As for the second transformation origin fostering pill and the third transformation origin fostering pill, it goes without saying that their value has increased exponentially. There is no doubt that once one takes this 9 transformation origin fostering pill, even a loser can be transformed into a real genius in an instant. Their cultivation will improve by leaps and bounds, and their potential will be enhanced. At that time they will even have hope of advancing to the King Realm." Hearing this, everyone revealed extremely greedy gazes. They simply wished for nothing more than to immediately seize these 2 treasures, and they couldn't suppress the palpitation in their hearts. To these underworld figures all geniuses were fake. Only their own strength in the martial Tao was real. At this moment, in a hotel outside the Black Moon Tower, it was a stronghold of the Blood Hand organization. "Boss, that kid Huang passed the nightmare trial and created a new record. He obtained the 9 transformation origin fostering pill and King Realm secret manuals from the Black Moon Tower. That kid has completely struck it rich," a subordinate reported. He revealed an expression of envy and jealousy. If he obtained these 2 treasures, his cultivation in the martial Tao would definitely soar into the sky. Struck it rich. Lu Lai's eyes revealed a trace of coldness and he smiled ferociously. If he can leave Black Moon City alive, then he will truly strike it rich. If he dies in this place, then it will be like the moon in the water. I was just worrying that there was no reason to mobilize the power of the Blood Hand organization to deal with that damned bastard. I didn't expect that he would really send me a pillow when I want to doze off. This is really great, this is a great opportunity bestowed by the heavens." He laughed loudly, incomparably arrogant. "Boss, could it be that you want to deal with that Huang?" That subordinate was stunned. Lu Lai clenched his fists and a trace of bone-piercing coldness appeared on his body. "Deal with? Wrong, I want him dead. Just the fact that he dared to disrespect me before is enough for him to die. Now that kid has one more reason to die. As the saying goes, an innocent man gets into trouble because of his wealth. A trash of the first heaven of the martial warrior realm, a poor country boy from God knows where, is qualified to obtain these treasures. The King Realm secret manuals and the 9 transformation origin fostering pill belong to my Blood Hand organization." His voice was resolute and there was no doubt. And on the other side, at the headquarters of the Black Bear Company. "Director Dai, after a few months that Huang has appeared." Several subordinates hurriedly ran in and reported this earth-shattering event to their boss. "What's going on?" Inside the office, the knife-scarred man turned around. "It is said that the guy called Huang went to the Black Moon Tower, and even passed the first heaven of the martial warrior realm nightmare level trial, created the Black Moon Tower record, and obtained 2 peerless treasures. The problem is, we can't be sure if he is the culprit who blew up our company building. We also don't have enough evidence to prove it. After all, there are many people with the same name and surname in this world." Several subordinates said in a deep voice. "Who cares so much? Whoever is called Huang deserves to die. Whoever dares to provoke my Black Bear Company, no matter who, must pay the price. And that King Realm secret manual and the 9 transformation origin fostering pill, my Black Bear Company also wants them. Immediately mobilize our brothers to head to the Black Moon Tower, and surround that guy called Huang." The knife-scarred man Dian sneered, his killing intent soaring. Yes, Director Dai and many members of the Black Bear Company spoke one after another, their killing intent soaring. Whether that guy was the culprit or not was not important. The important thing was that their Black Bear Company wanted those 2 treasures. This was enough to make them want to kill. This was the power of the underworld. Chapter 200. Boom. At the end of the trial, Xia Ping felt himself surrounded by energy and was teleported out of the room, holding 2 things in his hand. One was the secret book Kunpeng Steps, and the other was a 9-turn essence cultivating pill. These 2 things were the treasures rewarded by the Black Moon Tower. There's such a benefit from passing the trial? Xia Ping touched his chin. He had never heard of such a thing. In fact, not many people had heard of it. After all, it was unknown how many years it had been since a record was created. So it was normal that many people didn't know about it. Even those who knew about it wouldn't tell anyone. System, how much is this Kunpeng Steps worth? Xia Ping asked subconsciously. The system replied, if it is exchanged within the system, it will require at least 100,000 hatred points. If the host wants to learn this step, it will cost 20,000 hatred points. What? Xia Ping was overjoyed. This was a secret book worth 100,000 hatred points. Even the previous 10,000 Beast's Fist was only worth 50,000 hatred points. One could imagine how precious this Kunpeng Steps was. It could be said that he had made a big reward this time. And this 9-turn essence cultivating pill, he had also heard of the reputation of this kind of pill. This was a top-grade pill. Even if he wanted to buy it on the market, no one would be willing to sell it. As long as he took this pill, he felt that he would be promoted to the 2nd layer of the martial artist realm. It would also improve his aptitude and enhance his potential. I'm rich now. It's really good to come to the Black Moon Tower. Not only did I pass the trial, but I also have a huge reward. Xia Ping happily put the 2 treasures on his body. Then he left here, planning to return to the airport of Black Moon City and end this trial. Officially joining the giant company was the most important thing. As for studying martial arts secret books and taking pills, it would not be too late after this matter was over. Anyway, it was in his hands. Ding. Taking the elevator from the 12th floor of the Black Moon Tower, Xia Ping soon came to the hall on the 1st floor. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. When Xia Ping's figure appeared in the hall on the 1st floor, all the cultivators present immediately focused their gazes on Xia Ping. Everyone revealed extremely complicated expressions such as admiration, awe, greed, pity, and so on. It seemed that all the emotions of humans were revealed at this moment. He's here, that Huang is out. He's the one who set a record that no one has broken in the Black Moon Tower for decades. Previously, when this guy said that he wanted to pass the nightmare trial, I thought he was just bragging. I didn't expect him to actually do it. Anyone who can create a record in the Black Moon Tower, as long as they don't die, will definitely become a legend. Everyone discussed spiritedly as they stared at Xia Ping. Their eyes flickered with complicated emotions. Some people thought that they were watching the beginning of a legend, the beginning of a story. Brother, you must be Huang, right? Can I have a word with you? Suddenly, a few middle-aged men dressed in tiger-striped clothes walked over, revealing a mouthful of white teeth. They surrounded Xia Ping in an instant. Their bodies exuded a murderous aura. All of them were experts in the 2nd heaven of the martial artist realm and were extremely powerful. One of them was an expert at the 3rd heaven of the martial artist realm. Can I have a word with you? What do you want? Xia Ping narrowed his eyes and stared at these people. He could clearly feel the malice from these people and they were clearly targeting him. I heard that you've created a record in the Black Moon Tower and obtained a King Realm manual and a 9-revolution origin nurturing pill? The middle-aged man in the lead said, we're very interested in this. I wonder if you can sell it to us? Sell? How much do you want to pay? Xia Ping's eyes turned as he asked. The middle-aged man smiled lightly, we can offer 100 million federal coins. He stretched out a finger. Everyone was in an uproar. This was clearly robbery. Merely a 9-revolution origin nurturing pill was worth hundreds of millions, and the value of a King Realm manual was even more terrifying. It was a treasure that couldn't be bought with money. Now, they actually wanted to buy these 2 treasures for a mere 100 million. If this wasn't robbery, then what was? Idiot. Xia Ping couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with these people. He directly waved his hand and told them to scram. Did they really think he was an idiot? They wanted to take away a 9-revolution origin nurturing pill and a King Realm manual for 100 million? Young man, I advise you not to be impulsive. The middle-aged man remained unmoved and still had a smile on his face. I admit that you do have some talent to be able to pass through the nightmare trial. However, you're only a martial artist at the first level of the martial artist realm. No matter how strong you are, there's a limit. There are a lot of people in Black Moon City who can kill you. As the saying goes, an innocent man gets into trouble because of his wealth. There are some things that some people can possess and some can't. Otherwise you'll be courting death. As long as you're willing to give these 2 treasures to my Fierce Tiger organization, we'll definitely be able to protect your life and allow you to leave Black Moon City safely. This is a good deal, isn't it? After all, in this world, what's more important than life? He looked at Xiaoping with a smile, and his tone contained a trace of threat. Are you threatening me? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes and looked at the middle-aged man. A trace of displeasure surged in his heart. He was very clear that the Fierce Tiger organization was a super underworld organization in Black Moon City. It was an underworld force that was on par with the Blood Hand organization. They had numerous members and experts. A force like this had a terrifying amount of power in Black Moon City. The middle-aged man waved his hand. No. I'm not threatening you. I'm just telling you a fact. There are a lot of talented people in this world. You're just one of them. It's true that you might have the potential to advance to the King realm, but that's just potential. Without growing up, everything is just empty words. There are many geniuses who die along the way. I think you should know when to lower your head and when to compromise. You should know better than me that things that are too hard are easy to break. He still had the face of a smiling tiger. Get lost. Xiaoping couldn't be bothered to talk to these people. Hearing this, the middle-aged men next to him had ugly expressions. They looked like they wanted to fight but were stopped by their boss. He smiled at Xiaoping and said, "All right, since you're not willing, I won't force you. I wish you good luck. Of course, if you have nowhere else to go, my Fierce Tiger organization will still welcome you. But the price at that time, I'm afraid it won't be this price anymore." With that, he waved his hand and quickly left with his subordinates. He did not continue to bother Xiaoping. Chapter 201. After the group of people from the Fierce Tiger organization left, the matter was not over. Group after group of people came up, all of them from the major underworld organizations of Black Moon City. They all tried to trade with Xiaoping, wanting to spend a huge amount of money to buy the King Realm Manual and the 9 Transformation Pill. But all of them were greedy. Even the highest price was only 500 million, and after that no one else offered a price. Xiaoping was not an idiot. Of course, he would not agree to such an obviously fraudulent deal. He rejected all of them and told these underworld people to get out of here and not be an eyesore. The underworld people flew into a rage out of humiliation. They shouted that Xiaoping could not leave Black Moon City, and that once he left the Black Moon Tower, he would immediately die on the streets. But they did not dare to make a move in the Black Moon Tower, and all of them left with their tails between their legs. I will die if I leave the Black Moon Tower? Interesting, I want to see how these underworld people want to deal with me. Xiaoping's eyes flashed and he strode out of the Black Moon Tower. Not long after, he came to a wide square on the east side of the Black Moon Tower. Once he left this square, he would be completely out of the Black Moon Tower's sphere of influence. At that time, no matter what he did, the forces of the Black Moon Tower would not care. When he came to the edge of the square, Xiaoping immediately saw many underworld people eyeing him like hungry wolves. The moment he had the impulse to take a step outside, they would immediately make a move. The air was filled with a murderous atmosphere, extremely oppressive. With a snap, Xiaoping took a step forward, and half of his foot stepped over the edge of the square without hesitation. Bang! At this moment, a terrifying sniper bullet shot out from a tall building in the distance. It tore through the air and whistled through the air. In just a few breaths, it shot towards Xiaoping's head, exploding with an incomparably terrifying might. With a whoosh, Xiaoping's spiritual energy spread out. His body had long sensed the danger. His figure flashed and he took 2 or 3 steps to the left, moving several meters. And this bullet just happened to pass by, and in an instant, it exploded on the ground and immediately blasted a deep pit, more than 10 centimeters in diameter. Gravel flew everywhere, the ground shook and dazzling sparks surged. The surrounding people were all dumbfounded. This kind of sniper was too terrifying. The moment Xiaoping came out, he actually made a move to kill without holding back, extremely fierce. This was clearly to take Xiaoping's life. What? However, Xiaoping felt that the threat of death was not over yet. 5 or 6 terrifying air currents immediately appeared in the air. Another 5 or 6 sniper bullets whistled through the air. Even though Xiaoping had retreated to the square, the hidden snipers still did not let him go. They wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to blow up his head. Snake fist, wild snake dance. In the blink of an eye, Xiaoping's body seemed to have transformed into a python. It was incomparably soft as if he had no bones. He twisted in the air, changing into an unimaginable angle. These 5 or 6 bullets just happened to brush past Xiaoping's body at this moment and exploded on the marble floor. With a few bangs, several holes immediately appeared on the ground. The ground shook and gravel flew in all directions, creating a crashing sound. Some people were even more shocked. They watched in horror as the 5 or 6 bullets directly penetrated the ground by 2 to 3 meters. Even if a martial warrior realm expert was hit by this shot, his body would probably explode and he would die without a complete corpse. It's Lu Lai. Xiaoping raised his head and immediately sensed that on the top floor of an ordinary building in the distance, about 7 or 8 floors high, a young man was standing on the top floor. He seemed to be sneering as he looked down from the sky. His eyes were filled with malice, causing one's hair to stand on end. This young man was Lu Lai. Beside him stood 2 or 3 people in black, each holding a sniper rifle. It was obvious that these 3 people had personally attacked and wanted to kill Xiaoping. Unfortunately, they did not succeed. Damn it, I didn't actually kill him? Lu Lai's face was full of displeasure. He originally wanted to take advantage of this brat's carelessness and immediately order the snipers to shoot and kill this brat, completely eliminating any future troubles. However, he did not expect this brat's reaction to be so strong. Even when faced with a sudden attack, he could still calmly dodge the sniper's attacks. It could only be said that he was indeed a genius who could pass the nightmare-level trial. It seemed that it would not be easy to kill him just like that. How ruthless. He actually dared to make a move in the Black Moon Tower's territory. This crown prince of the Blood Hand organization is indeed lawless. Many people were secretly shocked. Even though Xiaoping had stepped half a step out of the Black Moon Tower's territory, it was still within the Black Moon Tower's territory. However, this Lu Lai actually dared to give the order to make a move on Xiaoping. One could imagine how ruthless Lu Lai was. Boom. At this moment, a mechanical voice sounded in the square, warning, anyone who attacks in the Black Moon Tower's territory will be killed without mercy. The entire tower immediately shook. At the top of the tower, there was actually a terrifying burst of purple lightning that contained extremely terrifying energy. In an instant, it fell from the sky. Bang bang bang. The speed of these purple lightning was extremely fast. With lightning speed, it bombarded down towards the few snipers. At this moment, there seemed to be a burning smell in the air. Young Master Lu, run. Seeing this, Lu Lai was so scared that his face turned pale. His entire body trembled. An honored martial artist of the 6th heaven beside him immediately acted. With a snap, he grabbed Lu Lai and instantly jumped from the top of the building. His speed was extremely fast, like an eagle catching a chick. With a strong airflow, he leaped down. Rumble, more than 10 purple lightning struck down. It was simply like the bombing of a missile, containing a terrifying power. The few snipers on the top floor, as well as some members of the Blood Hand organization, could not react at all. In just an instant they were bombarded by the purple lightning. With a bang, these members of the Blood Hand organization immediately turned into a cloud of blood mist. They died without a complete corpse. Even the entire building was smashed into pieces by the purple lightning. When the purple lightning disappeared, the original 7 to 8 story tall building had already disappeared. In its place there was a terrifying deep pit. It collapsed more than 10 meters and had a diameter of more than 100 meters. It looked dark and deep, emitting a terrifying aura of destruction. This. Lu Lai and the expert in the 6th heaven of the martial artist realm, who were lucky enough to escape, were dumbfounded and had a lingering fear in their hearts. If they were a step later, they would probably follow in the footsteps of the members of the Blood Hand organization. Fortunately, they sensed the danger in time and quickly escaped, falling to the ground at the side. Otherwise, they would definitely have died. Chapter 202. Amazing. Seeing this scene, Xiaoping also secretly sighed in admiration. He also knew that the Black Moon Tower was not just a training tower. It was also equipped with extraordinarily powerful weapons. Once it was used, it could slaughter a city and destroy a country. It was said that once the Black Moon Tower was fully activated, it could even kill a King Realm cultivator. Therefore, the Black Moon Tower's rules were so strict that no one dared to violate it. It was because of this tyrannical power that the Black Moon Tower's bodyguards did not need to do anything. Once the Black Moon Tower determined that someone was an enemy or broke the rules here, they would immediately attack and kill. As long as one was within the range of Black Moon City, there was no way to escape. This Lu Lai really doesn't know his place. Indeed, he thinks that he can do whatever he wants in the Black Moon Tower just because he is the young master of the Bloodhand organization. He really overestimates himself. Luckily this time it was not him who attacked, so the Black Moon Tower's attack was not aimed at him. Otherwise he would definitely be dead. Even his father would not be able to save him. He did not think that we, the underworld organizations, are all cruel and do all kinds of evil, but we do not dare to attack within the Black Moon Tower. Why is that? Does he think that he will not die just because he is lucky? He is still too young, he has not suffered much. Seeing this scene, the other underworld figures also laughed coldly. They looked at the young master of the Bloodhand organization, Lu Lai, with disdain. They thought that this guy was too arrogant and stupid. The entire Black Moon City could be so prosperous because of the existence of the Black Moon Tower. This was not only because it had a simulated martial arts space, but also because it had tyrannical combat power. Once it was used, the power it could display was simply unimaginable. This was a sci-fi weapon that surpassed the times. It could be said that the safety of the entire Black Moon City was protected by the Black Moon Tower. Its attack range covered a radius of 1,000 miles. Even if the enemy wanted to escape, they would not be able to escape. The reason why Lu Lai and the martial artist of the Sixth Heaven could escape was because they were not the ones who attacked with the hard object. Therefore, the Black Moon Tower did not target them and only killed the snipers. Otherwise, Lu Lai and the others would definitely die a violent death. Damn it. Lu Lai was half dead with anger. He had wanted to take this opportunity to kill the kid, but who would have thought that not only would he not be killed, he would also lose many elites of the Bloodhand organization. If this matter were to be spread back, he didn't know how his father would blame him. There was nothing more unlucky than this. It seems that staying within the Black Moon Tower's sphere of influence is absolutely safe. No one would dare to make a move against me. Xiaoping rubbed his chin. His eyes flickered as he looked at the fearful underworld figures around him. Whoosh. However, he did not stay where he was. Instead, he walked in the other direction of the plaza, wanting to see if there was another way out of Black Moon City. However, after circling around the Black Moon Tower, Xiaoping discovered that he was completely surrounded. Regardless of whether it was the Times Square in the east, the dark alleys in the west, the skyscrapers in the south, or the bars in the north, they were all guarded by the various large organizations of the Black Moon Tower. It was practically impenetrable. Once Xiaoping dared to leave the Black Moon Tower, he would immediately be surrounded and attacked by them. There was no way to escape. These underworld organizations are really going all out. Xiaoping's eyes flickered. After looking around, he discovered that there were at least 10,000 underworld figures watching him. They were so densely packed that it was equivalent to an army. It was obvious that in order to keep an eye on him and prevent him from secretly leaving the Black Moon Tower, these underworld organizations were going all out. Even if a fly tried to fly out, they would know. If a tiger doesn't show its power, they'll think I'm a sick cat. Seeing these underworld figures being so unscrupulous and treating him like a fat sheep to be slaughtered, Xiaoping felt very displeased. In reality, if he wanted to leave, it would be a piece of cake. As long as he consumed the invisibility pill, his aura and body would be completely hidden. He believed that no matter how powerful these underworld figures were, they would not be able to find him. However, he was displeased. If he just left like this, it would be equivalent to him being afraid of these underworld figures. It would be equivalent to surrendering. He could not swallow this anger. Interesting. Do you want to surround me at the Black Moon Tower and block me here? Then let's have some fun. Xiaoping's eyes revealed a cold light. After looking around, he once again returned to the interior of the Black Moon Tower. He had already decided to stay at the Black Moon Tower for the time being. In reality, the second floor of the Black Moon Tower also had rooms similar to a hotel. They provided food and lodging, but the price was extremely high. One night would cost 30,000 federal coins. This was not something that ordinary people could afford. Therefore, ordinary martial artists would not stay at the Black Moon Tower. Instead, they would find an ordinary hotel nearby to stay. But now, Xiaoping could not leave the Black Moon Tower. He could only stay in this room. This Huang has gone back. It seems that he plans to temporarily stay at the Black Moon Tower. What can he do if he doesn't go back? Does he want to leave and seek death? Indeed. Right now, all the underworld forces in Black Moon City, including the Blood Hand Organization, the Black Bear Organization, the Fierce Tiger Organization, and the Poison Wolf Organization, the four most tyrannical underworld organizations in Black Moon City, have their eyes on him. They have set up an inescapable net. Once he leaves, he will immediately die without a burial place. An innocent man will get into trouble because of his wealth. Actually, as long as he hands over these treasures and seeks the protection of an underworld organization, his safety will not be a problem. Are you kidding me? These are the secret manuals of the King Realm and the 9 transformations essence-enhancing pill. Don't you know how precious these treasures are? Who would be willing to hand over these treasures? Isn't that stupid? If he doesn't hand them over, he will die. What is more important than his own life? He might not die. This Huang is still hoping for a chance. Maybe he can get a chance to live. Let's wait and see. But I still think that this Huang has no chance of winning. This is a narrow escape. Indeed, no matter how strong this kid is, he is only at the first heaven of the martial warrior realm. Those underworld organizations have as many experts as the clouds. There are a bunch of third heaven and fourth heaven martial artists. He is dead. If he doesn't surrender and beg for mercy, he will die. Seeing this, everyone discussed spiritedly. They shook their heads and sighed. They felt that this kid Huang would not have a good ending. Even if this guy was slightly rich and had a strong background in his hometown. But in Black Moon City, the so-called background was nothing. No one would care. And these people were all underworld figures. They were outlaws. Who would be afraid of your threats? Interesting. Through the surveillance camera, Gu Peng also saw this scene. A slight smile appeared on his face. Now he is surrounded in all directions. There is no gap at all. Even these underworld forces have a bunch of martial warrior realm experts. This is simply a hopeless situation. I wonder how this kid will get out of this predicament. Chapter 203. Xia Ping decided to stay in the Black Moon Tower for the time being. Naturally, he would not waste his time here. After all, the Black Moon Tower was a tower of trials. There were many training facilities here, and one could also use the martial arts simulation space here to fight with various strong martial arts experts and different kinds of terrifying monsters to gain martial arts experience. It could be said that this was an excellent training base. Therefore, Xia Ping began to train hard in the Black Moon Tower, constantly sharpening his martial arts. However, in this way, the underworld figures who were responsible for monitoring Xia Ping were depressed. A week passed quickly. Damn it, when will this kid leave the Black Moon Tower? An underworld person was very depressed. They had stayed around the Black Moon Tower for a week, constantly watching the Black Moon Tower, afraid that if they did not pay attention, Huang would slip away. They could not be careless for even a moment. Their nerves were tense. It could be said that in this week, all of them had a pair of panda eyes. They were seriously lacking sleep and could not bear it anymore. If not for the fact that they had so many people and could work in 3 shifts, they might have already collapsed from exhaustion. Indeed, it has been a week. Why has there been no movement from this kid? He is actually staying in the Black Moon Tower to train so hard. Is he crazy? Why would he dare to come out? With so many of us in this place, that bastard would be scared to death. That's not right. If he does not come out for the rest of his life, then wouldn't we have to wait here in vain and waste time? Don't worry, it is impossible to stay in the Black Moon Tower for the rest of his life. One night's accommodation costs 30,000 federal coins. Who can stay for the rest of their life? The group of underworld people cursed and cursed. They were so angry that they wanted to kill Xia Ping immediately and snatch away his treasures to completely end this mission. But if he did not come out, there was nothing they could do. The problem is, he previously earned 400 million federal coins. Adding on his own money, this kid can at least stay in the Black Moon Tower for 10 years without any effort. Someone said gloomily, revealing the cruel truth. And what made them even more depressed was that the wealth he revealed was 800 million. Adding on other wealth that he did not reveal, it was probably even more shocking. Although they were very unwilling to admit it, if that kid was willing, he might really be able to live in the Black Moon Tower for the rest of his life. Damn it, so what if you're rich? You think you can squander money like this? You're too unreasonable. Damn it, why didn't they give it to me? Why didn't they help poor people like us? To tell the truth, I hate rich people the most. They spend all day drinking and drinking. Drinking. Me. Forests, if there's a chance in my next life, I want to be rich too. Many people of the underworld gnashed their teeth. Although they were very unwilling, the treasures on Xia Ping's body were too attractive. They couldn't just give up like this. They had to continue monitoring him. Another week passed, and Xia Ping was still diligently cultivating in the Black Moon Tower, carrying out his daily life of 3 points and 1 line. Sometimes, in order to find some excitement, he would purposely get close to the edge of the Black Moon Tower, provoking the nerves of these people of the underworld. However, he would not go out, leaving them helpless. After all, these people did not dare to make a move in the Black Moon Tower. All of them only dared to bare their teeth. The death of the snipers from the Blood Hand organization was still vivid in their minds. Shameless Huang, come out. If you have the guts, then come out. If you have the guts, then fight 300 rounds with us. Don't stay in the Black Moon Pagoda like a turtle hiding in its shell. Is there any meaning in teasing people all day long? Is there any meaning? A person of the underworld sighed to the sky. He was so angry that his nose was crooked. After being teased by this bastard all day long, they could not rest well. After all, if they were careless, this brat might slip away. They did not dare to close their eyes at all. This Huang is simply a coward. He's a coward, a coward. He only knows how to hide in the Black Moon Tower and not dare to come out. He doesn't have the guts to fight with us. Goddamn Huang, he's shameless to the extreme. Sometimes, this bastard doesn't sleep in the middle of the night and actually comes out to tell us to pee. I pee on his face. Do I need him to pee? Who does he think we are? The most shameful thing is this bastard. He likes to take advantage of when we are resting to beat the drums and gongs and even sing loudly. Oh my God, I have never heard such a terrible song in my life. It's like sawing a bed. He wants to use this kind of small trick to make us nervous. This brat's ability is only so. The more anxious he is, the more he reveals his nature of wanting to leave. I can see that this bastard definitely has something urgent to do and wants to leave. Otherwise, he wouldn't be so anxious and use so many small tricks. That's for sure. Even if he has enough money to stay in the Black Moon Tower for the rest of his life, it doesn't mean that he is really willing to stay there forever. There will be a time when he begs for mercy. Many people of the underworld spoke fiercely. They all planned that once this brat begged for mercy, they would definitely do everything they could to make him beg for death. If they did not do that, how could they repay this bastard's kindness over these past few days? Another week passed. Xia Ping was still cultivating in the Black Moon Tower. Occasionally he would come out to tease these people of the underworld. However, after 2 or 3 weeks, these people had long since gotten used to it. As expected. He only knows these small tricks. It's not worth mentioning. This is like catching a turtle in a jar. I'm waiting for this guy to beg for mercy. It's said that this bastard consumed the 9 transformations vitality pill. Damn it, he actually consumed such a superior pill. We've suffered heavy losses. Looks like we can only get that King Realm secret manual. What's there to be afraid of? I know a scientific forbidden technique of blood extraction. As long as we capture this brat and drain all the blood and flesh from his body, we can still extract the medicinal strength from it. The medicinal strength will only be slightly reduced. Tisk TSK, I didn't expect you to know this kind of forbidden technique. It's really amazing. If it wasn't because I know this forbidden technique and am wanted by the Federation government, I wouldn't be hiding in a damn place like Black Moon City. A group of people of the underworld were chatting idly. They were already quite used to this surveillance activity. Sometimes this bastard would come out at night to wake them up to pee. Occasionally he would sing loudly, but they completely ignored him. All of them plugged their ears and pretended that they didn't hear anything. Time passed in the blink of an eye. Another 2 weeks had passed. Up until now, Xia Ping had already stayed in the Black Moon Tower for 4 or 5 weeks. There was only a little more than a week before the college entrance examination. It's about time. It's time to leave Black Moon City. Chapter 204. Rumble. At this moment, Xia Ping felt the genuine qi in his meridians surging like a raging river. With a bang, the second acupoint was opened. The second heaven of the martial warrior realm. After more than a month of cultivation coupled with the 9-turn essence enhancing pill, he finally raised his cultivation to the peak, opened the second acupoint, and advanced to the second heaven of the martial warrior realm. I finally advanced. Xia Ping did not waste time in the Black Moon Tower for more than a month. He used the facilities here to make his martial arts cultivation more powerful. He clenched his fists and felt the surging power in his body. It seemed that every inch of his muscles was filled with rich energy. With just a light punch he could create an explosion of qi. As expected of the second heaven of the martial warrior realm, the amount of genuine qi has doubled. Xia Ping clenched his fists. After opening the second acupoint, he felt that the genuine qi in his body was a lot more majestic. In the martial warrior realm, every time one advanced to the next acupoint, an acupoint would be opened. Each acupoint could contain a large amount of genuine qi, making the martial warrior more powerful. It could be said that the difference between each acupoint of the martial warrior realm was huge. Just the amount of genuine qi was not something that a low-level martial warrior could compare with. Bang! Suddenly, Xia Ping stood firmly and punched into the distance. 20 meters away from this training room, there was a stone sculpture that was half the height of a person. With a bang, the genuine qi surged and the airflow condensed. In an instant, a terrifying power erupted. The stone sculpture immediately exploded, turning into a pile of stone fragments. Originally, when he was at the first heaven of the martial warrior realm, he could kill the enemy from 10 meters away. When he advanced to the second heaven, he could kill the enemy from a distance of 20 meters away with one punch. Fortunately, I have the 9-turn essence enhancing pill. Otherwise, I would not be able to advance to the second heaven of the martial warrior realm so quickly. Xia Ping smiled slightly. Originally, opening the second acupoint required a large amount of genuine qi. One had to know that ordinary martial warriors had to spend several years absorbing the spiritual qi of heaven and earth to strengthen the genuine qi in their body. Only then could they have a hope of opening the second acupoint. However, Xia Ping took the 9-turn essence enhancing pill, which greatly increased the genuine qi in his body, enhanced the potential of his body, saved him several years of cultivation time, and allowed him to break through to the second heaven of the martial warrior realm. This was the effect of the highest grade elixir, which made countless martial warriors salivate. Moreover, this 9 revolutions vitality enhancing pill was even more mystical. It contained an extremely large amount of medicinal power. This medicinal power was hidden in various parts of Xia Ping's body. As he continued to cultivate, it would slowly increase his body's potential. Let's see how powerful the Kunpeng steps I recently learned is. This month, Xia Ping also spent 20,000 hatred points to learn this king-level secret book. It just so happened that he was lacking a powerful secret footwork technique. The Black Moon Tower's gift this time was like a pie falling from the sky. A terrifying aura surged out from Xia Ping's body. True qi surged, the airflow surged, whistling sounds rang out, his feet, back and other places. Impressively, a pair of transparent true qi wings appeared. With a bang, the wings made of true qi flapped lightly, immediately producing a terrifying propulsive force, and Xia Ping's entire body instantly disappeared from where he was, reappearing 30 meters away. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. If someone were to stand in this training room, they would definitely be incomparably shocked, because there were actually many afterimages of Xia Ping in the training room. The naked eye simply couldn't keep up with this kind of speed, so it left behind afterimages. Bang! Xia Ping suddenly stopped and appeared in the middle of the training room. At this moment, the shadows around the training room slowly disappeared, and the surging airflow came to a halt. The Kunpeng rises with the wind and soars 90,000 li. Xia Ping's eyes shone brightly. Up until now, he had only cultivated a sliver of the Kunpeng steps. But even so, his speed had increased several times. With just one step, he had crossed dozens of meters. He was so fast that ordinary warriors couldn't keep up with him. This was a movement technique that was created by imitating the ancient divine beast, the rock. It was extremely powerful, and when cultivated to a high level, a single step would allow one to traverse tens of miles. It's really worth it to only spend 20,000 hatred points to learn such a movement technique. Xia Ping couldn't help but sigh. This time, the Black Moon Tower had brought him a big surprise. Not only did it help him break through to the second heaven of the martial warrior realm, but it also allowed him to learn such an exquisite movement technique, which greatly improved his combat effectiveness. It was estimated that even in the face of the fourth heaven of the martial warrior realm, he could fight and even kill him. Half an hour later, the training room was in a mess. There were traces of destruction everywhere. There were holes and gravel everywhere, as if it had been ravaged by a Tyrannosaurus Rex. After this period of time, Xia Ping finally grasped his promotion to the second heaven of the martial warrior realm, the soaring speed and strength, and grasped a more powerful combat effectiveness. After more than a month, those underworld forces have probably been numbed by me, and their nerves have relaxed a lot. Now it's time to leave Black Moon City. Xia Ping clenched his fists and a cold light appeared in his eyes. They trapped me in the Black Moon Tower for so long. If I don't teach them a deep lesson, they won't know how powerful I am. During this period of time, he was not only training hard, but also observing the underworld forces surrounding the Black Moon Tower, observing their weaknesses, and coming up with a plan on how to deal with these underworld forces and so on. In order to obtain information, he even spent hatred points, bought a few invisible pills, and spent a few days to investigate the nearby geographical location, as well as the distribution of these underworld figures' forces and so on. Xia Ping quickly discovered that the main ones who wanted to deal with him were only the four major gangs: the Blood Hand Organization, the Black Bear Company, the Fierce Tiger Organization, and the Poison Wolf Organization. These four major organizations were the real main forces against him. As for the other small gangs, they were not worth mentioning. Those people were all trying to fish in troubled waters, and they could not form a climate at all. Finally, after more than a month of preparation and planning, he came up with a way to destroy these underworld forces. After today, these underworld figures of Black Moon City would probably clearly remember the disaster they suffered on this day, as well as a person they should not have offended. Blood Hand Organization Lu Lai. This time, I will definitely not let you off. Xia Ping clearly remembered this Lu Lai's ruthlessness. Previously in the square near the Black Moon Tower, if not for his fast reaction, he would have been killed by the opponent's sniper. If he did not completely eliminate this Lu Lai, he would not be able to eat or sleep in peace. Whoosh. Chapter 205. Late at night, on the top floor of an 8-story building near the Black Moon Tower. At this time, a large number of the elites of the Black Bear Company were gathered on the top floor. They stayed here and commanded the overall situation. If anything happened, they would immediately move out. These elites were responsible for fighting. As for the other martial disciples, the minions of the Black Bear Company, they had a large number of people and were patrolling around the Black Moon Tower, monitoring Xia Ping's every move. They were mainly responsible for passing information. It's been a month, but that kid still hasn't taken a step out of the Black Moon Tower. It seems that he can really endure. An underworld member said. I wonder how long he can hide in the Black Moon Tower. The other elites of the Black Bear Company also nodded. After a month of waiting, no matter how patient they were, they couldn't help but feel a little impatient. After all, it was impossible for them to spend a lot of time and energy in this place. Moreover, the result might not be good. Even if they obtained the 9 Revolutions Essence Nurturing Pill and the King Realm Secret Manual, they would probably have to compete with other organizations. At that time, there would definitely be casualties. Manager Diane snorted coldly. Whether it's a month or a year, as long as that kid hasn't taken a step out of the Black Moon Tower, we have to monitor him. We absolutely can't let him escape. That's a King Realm Secret Manual, a cultivation method that directly points to the essence of martial arts. It's a treasure that can't be bought with money. As long as we can obtain such a precious secret manual, we even have hope of advancing to the Martial Master realm. Let me ask, other than this opportunity, do we have any other way to obtain a King Realm secret manual? His tone was very heavy. His eyes contained a strong majesty as he stared at the crowd. Even in the Black Bear Company, his strength could be ranked in the top 10. Only the boss of the organization had a cultivation like the Martial Master 9th layer. The others couldn't compare at all. Hearing these words, the surrounding underworld figures couldn't help but nod. It was indeed so. A King Realm secret manual was really too precious. Even in the various tyrannical martial arts organizations, it was a treasure that belonged to the level of a secret treasure. For underworld gangsters like them to think of it, it was simply a dream. Furthermore, if one could advance to the Martial Master realm, it would be like ascending to the heavens in a single step. They would become a Grandmaster level character and their status would be unimaginably high. They would be able to become an expert like the master of many cultivators and have the strength to establish their own sect. If you join any organization, you will become a hot figure in that organization. Even your original crimes may be erased by those organizations. You will become a clean person and be able to openly appear in other cities of Yanhuang Star. It was no longer like before where he could only stay in Black Moon City like before. This was their life's dream. So, it doesn't matter if he plans to stay in the Black Moon Tower for a year, or even 10 years. Diane sneered, we have to keep a close eye on him. We absolutely cannot let him escape. That's right. That brat thinks that we'll lose our patience after staying here for a month. He's dreaming. That fellow doesn't know how precious King Realm cultivation techniques are at all. In order to obtain such a secret manual, we are willing to pay any price. Waiting for a few months is nothing. If you don't hand over the King Realm cultivation technique, that kid will die. There's no mercy to speak of. And that guy is likely to be the murderer who blew up our Black Bear Company's building before. Just based on this, we absolutely cannot let him go. A group of Black Bear Company elites shouted, each of them exuding a terrible murderous aura. Not bad. Diane was very satisfied with the current morale. If their people were discouraged and allowed that bastard to slip away, then they would have missed a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. "Supervisor, the takeout is here," someone shouted. At this time, 5 or 6 people suddenly came in from outside. They were all carrying red high-grade and exquisite lunch boxes. These were all delicious food brought from a 5-star hotel. The Black Bear Company elites all swallowed their saliva and their stomachs growled. They had stayed in this damn place for so long and couldn't move at all. The only fun they had was to eat delicious food. Come, let's eat first. Anyway, that kid must be hiding in the Black Moon Tower today and enjoying a big meal. We can't treat ourselves badly. A bald man called out. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. One by one, the lunch boxes were opened and placed in front of everyone. Immediately, black bear meat, snake stew meat, fire leopard meat, ice tiger meat, and so on were revealed. Each was the highest grade of monster meat. These ingredients not only had the highest degree of deliciousness, but also contained pure energy. It was of great benefit to martial artists' cultivation. Eating a bite was equivalent to saving 4 or 5 days of cultivation time. If it wasn't for carrying out such an important mission to seize the King Realm's secret manual, the Black Bear Company wouldn't be so generous and let these people eat monster meat every day to replenish their energy. "Supervisor, you eat?" A bald man walked up and said to Diane flatteringly. As the highest person in charge here, even if it was eating, Diane would eat first. Diane nodded, picked up the most luxurious lunch box and obviously also had the most ingredients and began to eat. Seeing this, the others also began to eat. They had not eaten for a while and were hungry. Half an hour later, everyone had eaten and drunk their fill. Their faces were rosy and oily, very satisfied. Ah! Suddenly, a bald man let out a shrill scream. He felt as if his stomach was on fire, as if it was being strangled by knives and swords. It was extremely painful. He fell to the ground and kept rolling. With a puff, he couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. It sprinkled on the ground, but it was black. At the same time, it made a sizzling sound and corroded the ground. "It's poisoned. Someone poisoned the food." An underworld figure shouted, extremely terrified. "Impossible, we've already carefully checked the food. It's impossible for it to be poisoned. How could this happen?" There were also people who didn't believe it at all. Because they were underworld figures, all of them were extremely suspicious. In the face of these food deliveries, they had to go through a series of inspection procedures. Only after there was no problem would they be served to eat. How could there be a problem? Ah! But at this time, the people who had just eaten the food let out shrill screams one by one. They fell to the ground and rolled, their faces distorted. Obviously, they had been poisoned and were in great pain. "Damn it, we've fallen into a trap. We've been poisoned. Inform the headquarters immediately." An underworld figure shouted madly. He took out a communication device and was about to contact the headquarters. Whoosh! At this moment, a black stream of light shot over. With a bang, it penetrated the underworld figure's head. Immediately, it exploded like a watermelon, making a crashing sound. Chapter 206. Damn it, an enemy attack, an enemy attack. Who is it? Who wants to deal with my Black Bear Company? Seeing the man die miserably with his head blown up, the group of people cried out in fear. They felt a terrifying aura of death pervading the air. Bang bang bang. As time passed, the poison on their bodies began to take effect. Immediately, 5 or 6 warriors with weaker physiques fell to the ground and vomited black blood, dying miserably on the spot. Even the warriors who did not die miserably felt an intense pain in their stomachs, as if they were being strangled by swords, as if they had suffered the cruelest torture in the world. Manager Diane also suffered the same pain. His face was deathly pale, sweat dripped from his forehead, and his whole body trembled. This kind of poison could not be expelled with true qi. Immediately contact the headquarters, tell the boss, let him take revenge for us, take revenge for us. An underworld figure fell to the ground, desperately shouting, letting out a mournful cry before death. Immediately, a few people wanted to take out their communication devices, intending to contact others. Shio shio shio. In an instant, 3 black lights shot out, tearing through the air, containing a terrifying force, in an instant pierced through the throats of the 3 underworld figures. With a few drips, blood flowed on the ground. They all covered their pierced throats, their hands full of blood, their eyes revealing fear, wanting to say something, but their necks were already leaking air, so they could not say anything. With a paw, these people fell to the ground one after another, already dead. Damn sneak attack dog, is it you? Diane was shocked and angry to the extreme. He resisted the intense pain coming from his body, his whole body exploding. He sensed a hidden weapon coming from a place. Bang! He punched out, releasing true chi, a tyrannical force gushing out. A concrete wall on the roof in front of him was immediately smashed into pieces, a large hole appearing, smoke and dust billowing. With a paw, a figure slowly walked out from the pile of rubble, calm and composed, looking around just like that at the Black Bear Company people. Is Huang? This kid is Huang. One person immediately recognized the figure that suddenly walked out from the pile of rubble, shouting in fear. Impossible, when did this kid come out from the Black Moon Tower? Haven't our people been watching him? Haven't they been watching him all this time? Another person said in disbelief. It should be known that not only did they have people outside the Black Moon Tower, but they had also sent quite a number of people inside the Black Moon Tower to keep an eye on him. But now they had not received any information at all. This brat actually left the Black Moon Tower in such a dignified manner and appeared in front of them just like that. This was simply unbelievable. How did this kid get out? What are our intelligence agents doing? Did they go eat shit? Could it be that this bastard poisoned us? Is he trying to kill us? How did he do it? What did he do to our people? How did he get so close to our place without us noticing? Has our defense system become a sieve? Many people from the Black Bear Company couldn't believe their eyes. This kid was clearly a turtle in a jar. Being watched by his own people, he couldn't escape even if he wanted to. He was like a fish on the chopping board, sooner or later he would be slaughtered. But now they had become fish instead, hunted by this kid. Their positions were completely reversed. Are you really Huang? Supervisor Dian also gritted his teeth, staring at the figure that came out of the wall. Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back and said indifferently, "That's right, I am Huang. Last time your Black Bear Company's building was also blown up by me. I also killed quite a number of your people." What? Hearing this, the surrounding elites of the Black Bear Company were all shocked. It was really this kid who did it? Not only did their names are the same, these two people were basically the same person. But they also didn't expect that this kid would dare to directly admit it. It was really too arrogant, too brazen, too unscrupulous. This basically did not put the people of the Black Bear Company in his eyes at all. This kind of tone, this kind of attitude seemed to be telling them that even if they knew that this matter was done by him, so what? Even if the murderer really was him, so what? The Black Bear Company couldn't do anything to him at all. Too arrogant. Dian shouted angrily, looking up to the sky and roaring, "You blew up my Black Bear Company's building, killed my Black Bear Company's people, and still dare to come to my door, dare to admit it, and even dare to poison us. You are arrogant to no end. Today if I, Dian, don't kill you from now on, I am not a human." Boom! As soon as the voice fell, Dian was simply like an explosive bear, stomping on the ground, creating a terrifying deep pit in an instant. The surroundings cracked, kacha-kacha sounds and countless cracks appeared. He blasted out a punch, the air exploded, and there was an explosive bear roar in the void, rumbling, containing a huge force of 100,000 kilograms. Once hit by this punch, even a monster would be torn apart and turned into a mass of meat paste. This kind of power also made the surrounding elites of the Black Bear Company tremble. Too slow. Xia Ping's eyes revealed a trace of cold light, and he took a step forward. Kunpeng step. With a whoosh, his whole body flickered as if he had disappeared from the ground in an instant. The surrounding warriors could not see Xia Ping's figure, only hear the sound of the air breaking, as if there was a Kunpeng crying. How can he be so fast? Dian punched the air, unable to hit the enemy at all. His pupils shrank, he could not sense the enemy's whereabouts, and when he could react, the kid's figure was behind him. He was incomparably shocked. Even with his mental strength sensing, he could not detect the kid's speed. This was really shocking. Could this be the legendary king-level secret skill? Bang! With a punch, Xia Ping attacked mercilessly, bursting out the tyrannical power of the second heaven of the martial warrior realm, firmly hitting Dian's back, like a meteor hitting the ground. Ah! Dian let out a mournful scream, his whole body flew out, his spine was immediately broken, and more than a dozen bones in his body were shattered. Even his lungs were severely injured. With a bang, his body flew more than a dozen meters, and finally smashed on the wall, forcibly smashing out a human-shaped deep pit. Gravel flew in all directions, making kacha-kacha sounds. "You!" Dian turned around, widened his eyes and stared at Xia Ping. He seemed to want to struggle, but after struggling for a while, he found that he had no strength. Whether it was the poison or Xia Ping's fatal punch, both took away all his life force. Chapter 207. Devil, you are a devil. Spare me, spare us. If you kill us, you won't have a good end, you definitely won't have a good end. On the top of the building, the elites of the Black Bear Company shouted and shouted. All of them were terrified, but Xiaoping was merciless and attacked. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Stones shot out one by one, piercing the chests of these elites, revealing bloody holes, completely extinguishing the breath of life on their bodies, and none of them survived. After a few breaths, the whole ground was flowing with a lot of blood, and there were corpses everywhere. These people were either killed by Xiaoping with stones or poisoned to death. Spare you? Then who spared me? Xiaoping's eyes were cold. He would never show mercy to these underworld characters. These were all man-eating wolves. If he was caught by these underworld characters, even if he begged for mercy, would these bastards let him go? With his knees, he knew that this was absolutely impossible. In that case, these people wanted his life and he could only kill them all. I didn't expect this ice crystal jellyfish poison to be so powerful. It's colorless and odorless. If you take it, you can kill a martial artist realm expert in a few breaths. It's just that the price is a little expensive, 5,000 hatred points. In order to deal with this group of Black Bear Company elites, Xiaoping spent 5,000 hatred points to exchange for this terrible poison, and then used the invisibility pill to hide his breath and appearance, and put this poison on the food. After a month of investigation, he naturally knew the eating habits of these Black Bear Company people. After putting the colorless and odorless poison, those underworld characters would never notice. Sure enough, they all fell into the trap and took the food containing the ice crystal jellyfish poison. As a result, most of the Black Bear Company elites were poisoned to death. Even if some strong people relied on their strong vitality and could barely hold on for a period of time, such as Dian, they were also killed by Xiaoping personally. The plan was naturally very smooth, and all the elites of the Black Bear Company were killed by him. Fortunately, I exchanged for this ice crystal jellyfish poison, otherwise it would not be so easy to kill these strong people. Xiaoping clenched his fists. If not for the ice crystal jellyfish poison causing Dian to lose more than half of his strength, causing his strength to be even weaker than a fighter first heaven realm expert, Xiaoping would not have been able to defeat Dian otherwise, it would be very difficult for him to kill Dian. After all, Dian was a martial artist at the 6th heaven realm. His genuine chi was extremely dense and his vitality was strong. It's a pity that I don't have enough aggro. Otherwise, I could exchange for a few ice crystal jellyfish poison and assassinate the Blood Hand Organization, Fierce Tiger Organization, and Poisonous Wolf Organization. Xiaoping's eyes flashed. Because learning Kunpeng steps cost 20,000 hatred points, coupled with the exchange of invisible pill and other treasures, the hatred points on his body have disappeared by 70 to 80%, and he is unable to exchange for more ice crystal jellyfish poison. But it doesn't matter. With the weapons left by the elites of the Black Bear Company, it's easy to deal a heavy blow to the other three gangs. Xiaoping looked at the various weapons on the ground, laser pistols, sniper rifles, grenades and so on, especially the miniature nuclear bullets. Once these bombs are detonated, I am afraid that they can blow up the sky in a radius of several miles. Even a martial artist can't survive under such a terrible explosion. It is because the Black Bear Company itself is an arms organization, proficient in selling all kinds of smuggled weapons, and carries a lot of powerful weapons, so Xiaoping will choose to deal with them first. The purpose is to seize the arms on these Black Bear Company. Let's go. Xiaoping moved quickly and immediately collected the bombs left on the ground one by one, leaving nothing behind. Soon he disappeared in place, jumped horizontally and vertically, and ran towards the building in the distance. And because the fighting was too intense, the sound here was also discovered by the members of the Black Bear Company downstairs. One by one, the underworld people rushed up from below and came to the roof. When they saw the blood flowing on the roof, the corpses, and the death of Manager Dian, they were all scared. Something big has happened now. What the hell is going on? These are the elites of the Black Bear Company, and even Manager Dian is here. This is a martial artist at the 6th heaven realm. Who can kill them? Oh, who would do such a thing? Could it be that other gangs want to make a move on us? Are those bastards trying to provoke a gang war? Immediately report to the organization boss. This matter is too serious, it is not something we can handle at all. Everyone was discussing, looking at the scene in front of them in shock. So many elites of the Black Bear Company died, this is definitely a heavy blow to the Black Bear Company, a heavy loss. They can't imagine how many earth-shattering waves this matter will set off after it is spread out. And the news of the Black Bear Company's elites being wiped out, as well as Xiaoping's disappearance from the Black Moon Tower, also quickly spread around, to the underworld figures of the Blood Hand Organization, the Fierce Tiger Organization and the Poisonous Wolf Organization. This kind of news is simply impossible to hide. I heard that the Black Bear Company's elites were all wiped out, and even manager Diane was killed. I heard about this. Could it be that other gangs have made a move on the Black Bear Company? But which force has such powerful strength to actually wipe out the Black Bear Company's elites? This kind of thing doesn't matter. My spy reported that the damn Huang has disappeared and can't be found anywhere. It is very likely that the kid has already escaped the Black Moon Tower. How is that possible? Aren't our people all watching him? Even if he goes to the toilet, how can he disappear? There was no news at all before. That kid just slipped away when he went to the toilet. That bastard pretended to be constipated, went into the toilet and didn't come out for more than an hour. If not for our people feeling that something is wrong, and forcibly went over to take a look, we would not have discovered that the kid has already sneaked away from the toilet. Damn, not only did we not find him in the toilet, even in the surrounding areas of the Black Moon Tower, there is no trace of that kid, as if he disappeared into thin air. Just how did he do this? Is it possible that the Black Bear Company's elites were all wiped out by this kid? How is that possible? Just based on that kind of rookie, can such a thing be done? Don't joke around. Many of the underworld figures discussed spiritedly, their faces solemn. Even if you beat them to death, they would never have thought that a person they have been watching closely would actually disappear right under their eyes. This is simply the Arabian Nights. The people in charge of the Blood Hand Organization, the Fierce Tiger Organization, and the Poisonous Wolf Organization, the three major gangs are all very anxious. If they let this kid leave quietly like this, then these past few days will really be for naught, and in the future who knows how many people will laugh at them, this face they can't afford to lose. Ring ring. Chapter 208. At this time, the elites of the Blood Hand Organization were all in an office building of the Black Moon Tower, in a vast conference room. They stayed in this place to monitor the surroundings of the Black Moon Tower. Once there was any situation, these elites could immediately move out, and their efficiency was extremely high. Bang! When the communication device rang, a figure immediately appeared and projected over. Impressively, it was Xia Ping. "It's you?" When Lu Lai saw the figure that appeared on his communication device, he immediately jumped in fright, and his face instantly darkened. Even if you beat him to death, he would have never thought that Xia Ping would actually contact him. The other elites of the Blood Hand Organization were also very surprised. They originally thought that Huang, who had silently escaped, actually appeared in this place. What exactly was going on? "That's right, it's me." Xia Ping indifferently looked at Lu Lai. "I believe that you now know that I am no longer in the Black Moon Tower. You surrounded me for more than a month and even tried to kill me. I have to properly settle this debt with you." "Settle it with me?" Hearing this, Lu Lai laughed very loudly. "You brat, you are crazy. Although I don't know what method you used to escape from my Blood Hand Organization's surveillance. But since you have escaped, you should have secretly left like a mouse and not make a sound. Only then can you live. Now you actually dare to call me and still want to settle the debt with me? Did you eat garlic or something? You actually dare to speak so arrogantly, you are simply courting death." The other elites of the Blood Hand Organization also sneered. This brat was only an expert of the first layer of the warrior. In the face of the elites of their Blood Hand Organization, he was simply not even a fart. Escaping with his tail between his legs, being able to survive was already a great fortune. Now this brat actually dared to brazenly settle the debt with them. This was simply a joke. Only a crazy person would dare to sleep talk like this. If this brat really dared to appear in front of them, one move would be enough to kill him. To be able to strangle a genius of the future king realm, all of them felt incomparably excited. After so many years of life, where could they find such an opportunity? Courting death? Xia Ping coldly looked at Lu Lai. "I said if you want to kill me, just your Blood Hand Organization is not qualified. If you anger me, you will pay a heavy price. Tonight will be a nightmarish night for your Blood Hand Organization. Even you, Lu Lai, will have to die." His voice was so cold that it made people shudder. It was as if a cold air had seeped out from the void, causing the people around him to shiver. What a joke. What can you do with your strength? Lu Lai was extremely disdainful. He felt that this brat was only speaking tough, and was unable to shake his Blood Hand Organization at all. After all, his Blood Hand Organization was one of the largest underworld organizations in Black Moon City, and its experts were numerous like the clouds and possessed numerous weapons. Moreover, his father was even a 9th-level martial realm expert. This kid, a trash at the first heaven of the martial artist realm, wanted to shake the Blood Hand organization and take his life? If this wasn't a dream, then what was? Young Master Lu looked. There's something outside. A subordinate suddenly shouted. What? When Lu Lai heard this, he immediately looked out of the transparent glass window. He saw a red light streak across the sky in the distance like a meteor crashing down from the sky. That was a huge black stone the size of a watermelon. At this moment, it flew over like a missile. Its speed reached the sound barrier, emitting a whistling sound that was extremely ear-piercing. Because its speed was too fast, it rubbed against the air, causing its entire body to emit flames. Tiny stone chips fell off from its body and slowly shrunk, finally becoming the size of a glass bead. Dodge quickly. Seeing this situation, Lu Lai felt a strong sense of fatal danger. He shouted with all his might. His eyes were wide open and his entire body fell to the ground. His movements were extremely fast. The glass outside immediately shattered and the stone flew over. Standing by the window was a middle-aged man at the first heaven of the martial artist realm. He simply did not know what was going on and was completely unable to react. Bang! Immediately, an explosion sounded in the air and instantly pierced through his head. With a paw, his head exploded like a watermelon. Blood splattered and a mass of brain matter burst out. However, the power of the stone did not stop and continued to bombard the people behind him. Bang bang. The 2 elites of the Blood Hand organization behind them were also caught off guard. They happened to be standing in the same row and were successively pierced by the black bead-sized stone. A huge bloody hole appeared in their chests. The 2 corpses flew out with a powerful inertia. With a bang, they fiercely hit the cement wall behind them, immediately smashing a human-shaped deep hole. Countless cracks immediately appeared on the wall. Kacha sounds could be heard. The stone directly penetrated the wall and flew for who knows how far before finally embedding itself into the wall of another building. With a pa-cha sound, a few cracks also appeared on the wall of the opposite building. This. The elites of the Blood Hand organization in the conference room were all dumbstruck. They looked at this scene in disbelief. It was just a stone, but it instantly killed 3 elites of the Blood Hand organization. They did not even have the power to resist. Looking at one of their companions whose head exploded and 2 whose hearts were pierced, blood dripping on the ground, they could not help but feel a chill from the soles of their feet. This Huang was too terrifying. Huang, you are courting death. Do you know that you are courting death? Seeing 3 of his elite subordinates die and himself in an incomparably sorry state, Lu Lai could not help but shout angrily. He was unable to restrain his anger. One could imagine how angry he was right now. This brat was clearly his prey, like a fish on the chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered at will. But now he actually killed his subordinates and he became the prey instead. How could he accept such an outcome? Don't worry, this is just a greeting. This night is very long, let's take it slow. I said, this will be a night that you will remember vividly. With a pa sound, Xia Ping immediately hung up the phone. A greeting, what a greeting, too arrogant. With a bang, Lu Lai smashed the communication device in his hand. He was so angry that smoke was coming out of his head. As the young master of the Blood Hand organization, when had he ever suffered such humiliation? His subordinates were clearly killed in front of him, but he could do nothing about it. Young Master Lu, we found it. One of the subordinates immediately shouted. By tracking that brat's signal, we found that bastard is now on the top floor of a building 5 kilometers away. He is currently monitoring us. 5 kilometers away. Hearing this, everyone present was shocked. In other words, the kid had killed 3 of their elites from a distance of 5 kilometers. What kind of terrifying martial arts strength was this? Chapter 209. What's there to be afraid of? Seeing his subordinates' frightened expressions, Lu Lai glared at them and immediately shouted, no matter how strong he is just the trash of the first heaven of the martial practitioner realm, and he is alone. We have dozens of elites of the second heaven of the martial practitioner realm, more than 10 of the third heaven, and even a few experts of the 5th and 6th heaven. Do you think we are afraid of a trash like him? Hearing this, the elites of the Blood Hand organization also came back to their senses. Just now, they were frightened by this kid's actions and almost forgot that they had the advantage in numbers. Moreover, the other party was just a rookie of the first heaven of the martial practitioner realm. No matter how strong he was, it was impossible for him to challenge a 5th heaven, or even a sixth heaven expert. The gap between the two sides was like a chasm. In fact, if it was not to prevent other gangs from attacking their headquarters, the boss of the Blood Hand organization and most of the elites stayed in the headquarters, Lu Lai would only bring a small number of elites out. Perhaps a mouthful of water from each person would be enough to kill that arrogant kid. But even if it was a small number of elites, killing that Huang would not be a problem. Immediately inform the Vicious Wolves organization and the Fierce Tiger organization of this matter. Lu Lai said coldly, killing people of my Blood Hand organization, that kid still wants to escape, how can there be such a simple thing in this world? Offending my Blood Hand organization, the entire Black Moon City is his enemy. Want to escape is fine, but leave your life behind. His murderous aura made people shudder. The other elites of the Blood Hand organization immediately understood that it was very difficult for their organization to find a person in the entire Black Moon City. But with the help of the Fierce Tiger organization and the Vicious Wolves organization, it was different. The entire Black Moon City probably had the eyes of the three major gangs. That kid absolutely had no way to escape. If not for the Black Bear organization just being wiped out and suffering heavy losses, they would probably still be suspicious, guessing which force did it and would not easily move out. Otherwise, they would also bring the forces of the Black Bear organization so that it would be even more foolproof. Yes, young Master Lu. A group of subordinates shouted, full of killing intent, making people shiver. What? That kid Huang really escaped from the Black Moon Tower? Not only did he escape, he actually dared to clamor in public. He killed 3 elites of the Blood Hand organization, and even wanted to teach our Black Moon City's underworld a painful lesson. Teach my ass. That rookie wants to teach us a lesson. Does he really think he can teach people a lesson just because he's the federal president and a martial Dao grandmaster? He's too arrogant. A dog's hit like him dares to shout at our Black Moon City? Who does he think he is? I'm filled with rage right now. It's one thing if he ran away. If he left with his tail between his legs, we wouldn't be able to do anything to him. But he still dared to jump out and cause trouble here. Our entire Black Moon City will not tolerate him. Cut the crap. Immediately send out the elites to capture that bastard and tear him to pieces. If we don't kill that Huang, then that's the same as slapping the faces of our Black Moon City's great powers. What face do we have left? Yes, kill him. There's no need to be polite. We're all fugitives, what's there to be afraid of? The Fierce Tiger organization and the Poisonous Wolves organization also heard the news. All of them were so angry that their lungs were about to explode. It was one thing for this kid to run away, but he actually dared to clamor and say that he wanted to teach them a lesson. Hearing this, even Buddha would be somewhat angry. Not to mention that they were underworld figures. Each of them had a fiery temper. How could they tolerate this? Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The elites of the underworld organizations moved out one after another. All the forces in Black Moon City were mobilized, using all kinds of methods to search for Huang's whereabouts. If they found this kid, they would kill him without mercy. It could be said that the entire Black Moon City was in an uproar, shouting to kill. With such a big commotion, the other people of Black Moon City also heard the news. All of them were amazed. Amazing. This Huang endured for more than a month and still managed to escape. How did he do it? Didn't they say that the 4 major underworld organizations laid out an inescapable net that not even a fly could escape? How did he manage to escape? That's why I say this Huang is amazing. To actually be able to do such a thing, it's simply unimaginable. Until now, no one knows how he escaped. If that's all, it's fine. But after this Huang escaped, he actually began to stir up trouble, taking revenge on those underworld organizations. Among them, 3 elites of the martial warrior realm of the Blood Hand organization were killed by him from 5 kilometers away. Their heads were blown off and they were killed in front of the Crown Prince, Lu Lai. Amazing. As expected of the amazing person who passed the nightmare level trial. Not to mention other things, just this courage alone is not something that other martial artists can compare with. This kind of action also angered the underworld forces of the entire Black Moon City. Everyone is shouting to kill that kid, saying that if they find this kid, they will immediately kill him without mercy. Now the entire Black Moon City is in an uproar. The train station, the airport, the bus terminal, and other places have all been set up by them. They will definitely not allow that kid to escape. Just to deal with a young man in the first heaven of the martial warrior realm, they actually made such a big fuss. He isn't an ordinary young man, he's a genius that passed through the nightmare grade trials, a monstrous genius. If such a king realm expert is allowed to escape, then how terrifying would he be in the future? They'll have to face the attacks of a King Realm expert. Who would be able to face such a terrifying rage? So if this kid doesn't die, then they will. Everyone was talking about it. They were all shocked by this scene. They had never seen such a thing. The entire city was the enemy of a young man. This was simply unimaginable. But they also understood the madness of these underworld organizations. It was really that this enemy was too great a threat and had to be eliminated. This. After knowing this news, Gu Peng, who was in the airport, was also very speechless. Even if he was looking forward to how Xia Ping could escape the encirclement of those underworld forces, he did not expect that such a big thing would happen. If it was an ordinary martial artist, it would be a great fortune for them to be able to escape. But this brat was not convinced and actually wanted to take revenge. He had killed 3 elites in front of them. This was a blood feud that no one could tolerate. It was originally a small matter, but because of this bastard's trouble, it definitely became a big matter that would not end until one party died. This bastard is born to be a troublemaker. His ability to cause trouble is first class. Gu Peng was speechless, the corner of his mouth twitching. Things had already reached this point. If this kid really encountered danger, he might have to personally help. After all, this was a good seedling. Even if he slightly broke the rules, it was not a big deal. Chapter 210. Black Moon City, a warehouse. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. More than a dozen elites from the Fierce Tiger organization entered the warehouse in a single file. All of them were aggressive and looked around vigilantly, as if they were looking for a target. I heard that someone saw Huang hiding in this warehouse? Why can't I see him? We'll know after searching this warehouse. If we can catch Huang, boss will reward us handsomely. 18 Qi deposition pills. How great would that be? Oh my god, if we can get 18 Qi deposition pills, we'll save years of cultivation time. We might even be able to break through to the first heaven and become stronger. We'll be rich this time. But this guy passed the nightmare trial. His strength is definitely not fake. We'd better be careful. If we fail, we'll be in big trouble. What's there to be afraid of? No matter how strong this kid is, he's only at the first heaven of the martial realm. We're all at the second heaven of the martial realm or even the third heaven. Why would we be afraid of a kid? That's right. A dozen of us against him. One punch from each of us is enough to turn this kid into minced meat. What I'm afraid of is that he won't show up. Once he does, he'll be dead. It'll be as easy as stepping on an ant. Indeed. We're not afraid of this kid's strength. We're afraid that he'll sneak away and leave Black Moon City. That way we won't be able to find him. The dozen elites of the Fierce Tiger organization discussed. All of them were arrogant and did not take Xiaoping seriously. They felt that the kid was a rookie who could be easily crushed. Even if they knew that the other party was a monster who passed the nightmare trial, no matter how strong he was only at the first heaven of the martial realm. It was impossible for him to defeat so many of them. Oh, as easy as stepping on an ant? At this moment, a figure walked out of the darkness. It was Xiaoping. He appeared directly in front of the elites of the Fierce Tiger organization. He looked at them and said, "You don't have much ability, but you talk big. Come, let me see what you're capable of." He stood with his hands behind his back like a master. What? Seeing Xiaoping suddenly appear, the elites of the Fierce Tiger organization were not shocked. Instead, they were all pleasantly surprised. They finally found this damn kid. They finally had hope of completing their mission. See my ass. Hearing this, one of the Fierce Tiger elites was so angry that his nose became crooked. He couldn't stand this bastard's arrogant attitude. You want to see what we're capable of? You're just a trash in the first heaven of the martial artist realm. You're pretending to be an expert in the Grandmaster realm, yet you still want to give pointers to the world. You're not qualified at all, do you know that? Big brother, don't waste words with him. Kill him immediately and smash his head. A middle-aged man in a red singlet sneered. His muscles were bulging and his arms were tattooed with a tiger. He was a third heaven of the martial artist realm. Boom. As soon as he finished speaking, he pounced forward like a ferocious tiger. His body was surrounded by terrifying true qi, and he let out a frightening tiger roar, which caused the ground to crack. Once hit by him, even a rock weighing several tons would be smashed into smithereens. These underworld figures were all vicious and merciless. They didn't even have time to exchange pleasantries with this kid. They immediately took action and broke this guy's limbs so that he couldn't move at all. After that, they would have a good talk. Get lost. Xiaoping's eyes revealed a trace of coldness. He held the hammer with both hands and a huge amount of true chi gushed out of his body. It was as if a violent bear was born. Two huge holes immediately appeared under his feet, making cracking sounds. The first style of the myriad beast's fist, violent ape hammer. He held the hammer with both hands and took a step forward. His true chi condensed into a ball and smashed it forward. It was as if an ancient Mount Tai had descended, suppressing the world and tearing everything apart. Bang! Immediately, the true chi giant hammer smashed down from the sky like a meteor, erupting with terrifying power. This power bombarded the middle-aged man's body just like that. Ah! The middle-aged man didn't expect a small expert in the first heaven of the martial artist realm to be so terrifying. He couldn't dodge in time and was smashed by the true chi giant hammer. Rumble, with just one blow, the middle-aged man was smashed and smashed hard on the ground. A huge human-shaped pit appeared, as if he had been smashed by a huge rock weighing hundreds of millions of tons. With a few cracking sounds, the bones in his body were immediately shattered. He coughed up blood and his neck tilted. He immediately died. Bastard, you actually dared to kill Li Hu. You're courting death. There's no need to be polite with him. Let's join forces and kill this bastard. Yes, let's go together and kill him. Seeing their companion die, the group of fierce tiger organization elites were all dumbfounded. They were so angry that their lungs were about to explode. They didn't expect this kid to be so cruel and kill one of them in one move. They couldn't suppress the anger in their hearts at all. More than a dozen of them rushed forward. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. These fierce tiger organization elites were all experts in the martial artist realm. The strongest one was in the third heaven of the martial artist realm. They were extremely fierce and even more terrifying than a tiger. An ordinary expert in the first heaven of the martial artist realm couldn't withstand a single blow from these experts. They would be torn into pieces with one move. They didn't think that this kid could withstand their joint attack. Seeing the actions of these people, Xiaoping was unmoved. He stood on the ground and opened his mouth. The second style of the myriad beast's fist, lion's roar. Boom! At this moment, a violent sound wave gushed out from Xiaoping's body. In the void, it was as if there were hundreds of tigers roaring, shocking the forest and shaking the earth. When this roar came out, the vital energy condensed and the sound wave surged. Immediately, a circle of terrifying sound waves that could be seen with the naked eye appeared in the air. With Xiaoping as the center, it spread in all directions. Bang! 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 This sound wave attack was extremely terrifying. It penetrated into the lungs. The dozen or so fierce tiger organization elites who attacked in front were immediately attacked by the sound wave before they could even take a step forward. Ah! These people immediately let out a shrill scream. They couldn't help but cover their ears with their hands, but it was useless. Blood immediately seeped out of their ears, mouth, nostrils, and eyes. Their lungs were severely injured, as if they had been bombarded by hundreds of punches. Their hearts suddenly stopped. The glass surrounding the warehouse immediately shattered with a crashing sound. Even the ground was destroyed by the sound waves and cracks appeared on it. The entire warehouse seemed to have been blown into two halves at that moment. The walls were shattered and the warehouse's pillars were on the verge of collapse. With a few bangs, these fierce tiger organization elites were all killed. One by one they fell to the ground. Their eyeballs were shattered and blood flowed all over the ground. They died extremely miserably. Chapter 211. This is the first batch. Xiaoping looked at the dead elites of the fierce tiger organization without any expression on his face. Since these people wanted to kill him, they had to be prepared to be killed. Although he could not deal with experts above the fifth heaven of the martial artist realm with his current strength, it was easy for him to deal with these experts at the fourth heaven of the martial artist realm. Moreover, the range of his mental strength was extremely wide. After advancing to the second heaven of the martial artist realm, the range of his mental strength was within a radius of 300 to 400 meters. It was estimated that only the experts of the sixth heaven of the martial artist realm could compare with it. With the detection of his mental strength, he could fight and escape whenever he wanted. He was not afraid at all. Well, there are enemies coming. Let's retreat first. Xiaoping's eyes flashed. He sensed that there seemed to be enemies rushing over from afar. Their aura was very strong. His figure flashed. With a swoosh he stepped outside and used the Kunpeng steps. In a few breaths he left the warehouse. He was so fast that the enemies could not catch up with him. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Not long after Xiaoping left, dozens of elites of the fierce tiger organization immediately came and surrounded the warehouse. The leader was an expert at the sixth heaven of the martial artist realm. He was a middle-aged man in a black suit. He was also the leader of this operation. How is this possible? Li Hu and the others are all dead. Not a single one is left. After receiving the message from these guys, we rushed over quickly. How could we not make it in time? It has only been a few minutes and all the elites of the Fierce Tiger organization have been killed. How can this kid be so powerful? Isn't he an expert at the first heaven of the martial artist realm? He must have broken through. I remember that he obtained a 9-turn vitality enhancing elixir. It is extremely precious. Coupled with this kid's amazing talent, it is not difficult for him to break through to the second heaven of the martial artist realm in a month. Shameless. He pretended to be a rookie at the first heaven of the martial artist realm. I didn't expect him to play dumb here. He wanted to plot against us and he really succeeded. So many of our brothers died at once. Even our Fierce Tiger organization can't bear such a loss. He must die. That kid must die. Even if I don't get the King Realm secret manual, I will kill him. Many of the elites of the Feral Tiger organization shouted angrily. They were furious, especially when they saw their comrades being killed by the other party. All of them died with their eyes open, which made them even more furious. The Fierce Tiger organization had always been domineering in Black Moon City. They were the only ones who killed people. When had anyone ever killed them? This was the first time so many of their elites had died like this. Damn it. With a bang, the middle-aged man in the black suit suddenly attacked. He slammed his palm on the ground, instantly creating a huge crater. Gravel flew in all directions and countless cracks appeared. Damn Huang, I won't let you off, definitely won't let you off. The middle-aged man in the black suit roared into the sky. Even if you flee to the ends of the earth, even if you have a powerful background, I will always hunt you down and take your head. Sacrifice to our fallen brothers. I am going to tear that Huang's corpse into 10,000 pieces. He released a world-shaking roar. Tears flowed from his eyes. He was furious to the extreme. It was because among these ferocious tiger elites, one of them was his blood brother as well as a good friend. Now that they were killed by Huang, how could he accept this? Go immediately. The middle-aged man in the black suit shouted angrily, "Issue my order, have all the people of the ferocious tiger organization move out and search the entire city. Even children, old men and women move together. Once you see that Huang, kill without mercy. Activate the human wave tactic, I want him to die without a burial place." Yes. Many ferocious tiger elites shouted angrily. They all moved out. This Huang's actions could be considered to have completely angered them. This was a hatred that would not end until one side was dead. Because of the ferocious tiger organization's anger, Black Moon City also boiled up again, even more chaotic than before. In a gathering place of the Venomous Wolf organization, this was the top floor of a building. 20 to 30 Venomous Wolf organization elites gathered here. They were currently analyzing the information they had obtained, deducing where Xiaoping was. There is news that Huang once appeared in the northwest of Black Moon City and fought with the ferocious tiger organization. In the end, he killed more than 10 of the opponent's martial warrior realm experts, and the ferocious tiger organization suffered heavy losses. It seems that this kid was also hunting the elites of the Blood Hand organization. More than 20 martial warrior realm experts of the first and second martial warrior realm were all killed by him. This time, the Blood Hand organization also suffered a great loss. How ruthless. It is said that this guy may have taken the 9-turn vitality enhancing pill and advanced to the second martial warrior realm. In addition to his talent, it is estimated that his combat strength is comparable to the third martial warrior realm. In other words, the fourth martial warrior realm and below will only be a dead end if they encounter him. Too arrogant. In the face of the 3 major gangs, not only did he not escape, but he actually planned to hunt down our people. Does he want to die? Does he know what he is doing? I have never seen such an arrogant person. He is simply too arrogant. He is only in the second martial warrior realm and he thinks that he can do whatever he wants in Black Moon City? Boss warned us before that we must be careful of that kid's sneak attack. What are you afraid of? He has offended the Blood Hand organization and the Ferocious Tiger organization. Would he dare to offend our Venomous Wolf organization? Even if he is stupid, there should be a limit. That's right. I don't think that bastard would dare to do anything to our Venomous Wolf organization. Who doesn't know that our Venomous Wolf organization is ruthless and will seek revenge for the smallest grievance? He will definitely not dare to do anything to our people. The elites of the Venomous Wolf organization were all talking about it. They were proud and arrogant. They thought that no matter how stupid that kid was, he would know how terrible it was to offend the three major gangs in Black Moon City. Swoosh. Suddenly, a cold light shot out in the dark night. With a bang, a stone instantly penetrated the head of the elite of the Venomous Wolf organization who was just talking. With a bang, his forehead was instantly penetrated. His eyes were wide open, and there was a trace of disbelief and shock in the depths of his pupils. It seemed that he could not believe that he had died just like that. He was just saying that the kid would not dare to do anything to their Venomous Wolf organization. No matter how stupid he was, there should be a limit. But before he could speak, he died. Dozens of meters away, on the roof of a building, a figure appeared. It was Xiaoping. Wang. Seeing the death of their companion and seeing Xiaoping appear in front of them, the group of elites of the Venomous Wolf organization all roared, and smoke began to come out of their noses. You are seeking your own death. How dare you kill the people of our Venomous Wolf organization? Do you know how big a crime this is? Do you know how big a mistake this is? You will definitely pay a heavy price for this mistake, for this crime. Chapter 212. Sin. Although they were dozens of meters away, their voices were still very fresh. Hearing those words, Xiaoping suddenly laughed very loudly. It's not a sin for you to chase me, but it's a sin for me to kill you? Go to hell and talk to the king of hell. If I'm really guilty, you can come back and capture me. Capture my ass. The people of the poisonous wolves were all half dead with anger. If they really went to hell, how could they come back up? Would they become ghosts and come back to take their lives? What a joke. Let's go and kill this guy. We have the advantage in numbers. What are we afraid of? Kill this guy. Don't let him be arrogant here. How dare he offend the poisonous wolves? This guy is simply courting death. Let's fulfill his wish. The elites of the poisonous wolves shouted. Although they were dozens of meters away, for them, it was a very short distance. They could easily reach the roof where Xiaoping was. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. They jumped over one by one. Their feet produced a terrifying force and the ground cracked. They tried to surround Xiaoping and beat him to death. How stupid. I dare to come here to deal with you. Do you think I don't have some skills? I can kill you as easily as killing a chicken. Xiaoping's eyes were cold, and he looked at the elites of the poisonous wolves jumping over. The third style of the seven arrows art, rain of flowers. With a bang, Xiaoping flipped his hand and threw out dozens of stones. The stones were wrapped in tyrannical true qi and fell from the sky like rain, covering a radius of hundreds of meters. Each stone was like a raindrop, falling from the sky at an extremely fast speed, faster than a sniper bullet. They tore through the air and made a sharp sound in the air. Bang, bang, bang. In an instant, the stones immediately hit the elites of the poisonous wolves who had jumped over from afar. They immediately pierced through their chests, creating huge bloody holes. The elites of the poisonous wolves let out miserable screams. They had never thought that the stones would be so terrifying. They contained a terrifying true qi, which was specialized in breaking the true qi of the poisonous wolves. One by one, the elites lost their strength in the air and fell from the sky like dumplings. With a bang, their bodies hit the ground and immediately became meat paste. How can he be so strong? The remaining elites of the poisonous wolves organization were so scared that they pissed their pants. In just one move, more than half of their experts had been killed by this brat. It was as if he was slaughtering pigs and dogs. This kind of method was too terrifying. Run. If we don't run, we'll die. This kid is too strong. Those who are not above the fifth heaven of the martial artist realm are no match for him. Several people from the poisonous wolves shouted and called their companions to run away. This kid's strength was too terrifying. Even if they stayed where they were no match for him at all. If they didn't run away, they would die. Trying to escape? Is it that simple? Xiaoping sneered. He was already prepared for this situation. His left hand instantly smashed out a black stone the size of a watermelon. With a bang, the rock shattered in midair and split into dozens of pieces. Each piece of broken rock was wrapped in tyrannical true qi and shot forward like a missile. In just an instant, the elites of Poison Wolf who were on the top floor were pierced by the rubble before they could even take a step forward. Blood dripped down from their bodies. With a bang, the corpses fell to the ground one by one, splashing dust on the ground. Their eyes were wide open and they died with grievances. The elites of Poison Wolf all died. The plan is almost carried out. Xiaoping saw these elites of Poison Wolf all died in front of him. He touched his chin and a trace of coldness appeared in his eyes. After this, I guess the Poison Wolf organization will definitely be furious and lose their minds. At that time I'll kill all these gangsters. This was not enough. He had to make these gangsters feel the heart-wrenching pain before they would stop. Otherwise he would not be able to take it lying down. By the way, leave some marks here, otherwise these people will not know who killed them. Thinking of this, Xiaoping immediately used a sharp stone and carved a few big words on the ground. Killer Huang. After doing all this, Xiaoping's figure flashed and disappeared in an instant. He ran into the distance. After Xiaoping left for a while, the reinforcements of Poison Wolf finally arrived at this place. When they saw the ground smashed into meat paste, the corpses on the top of the building, and the big words left on the ground, they all went crazy with anger. What a good killer Huang. He is too arrogant. Not only did he not run away after killing the people of Poison Wolf, he even dared to leave his name. This is the first time I've seen such an arrogant killer. This is the first time. He provoked the Fierce Tiger organization, provoked the Blood Hand organization, and now he dares to provoke our Poison Wolf organization. This Huang must want to die. He must want to die. If we don't kill this Huang, where will the dignity of our Poison Wolf organization go? Can our dead brothers rest in peace? This bastard and I are absolutely irreconcilable. Either he dies or we die. All the members of Poison Wolf organization were stunned. They had never seen such an arrogant killer. He provoked the other two gangsters and now he even offended them. He even dared to leave his name on the ground. This was clearly a provocation. If they didn't take revenge, what face would the Poison Wolf organization have? In the future, would people still look up to them? Contact the Fierce Tiger organization and the Blood Hand organization immediately. This time we have to join hands and kill this Huang. Otherwise, our underworld organizations won't be able to eat and sleep in peace. A big boss immediately shouted angrily. He felt unprecedented anger. If it was just to get the boy's treasure before, they wanted to kill him and rob him, but now they wanted to kill that bastard. It was pure hatred, irreconcilable hatred. Yes, boss. Everyone shouted angrily. They had never been so united, but in order to kill this Huang, they began to unite. Their wills were like steel and they couldn't be shaken at all. The news spread like wildfire. Half an hour later, the Fierce Tiger organization and the Blood Hand organization heard the news. They all sent people to contact the Poison Wolf organization, planning to compromise and cooperate. In order to kill this boy, they planned to join hands. Otherwise, if they continued like this, even if they could really kill this Huang, the three major organizations would suffer heavy losses. Who knew how many elites of the martial artist realm would die? Even the three major underworld organizations of Black Moon City couldn't bear such losses. Chapter 213. And what Xiaoping did was like a hurricane sweeping through the entire Black Moon City, letting all the warriors in the city know. The news was like boiling water. Big news, the three gangs have abandoned their former enmity and plan to join hands to deal with Huang. Incredible, this is unprecedented. These gangs are like fire and water, how could they join hands? There is no other way, this Huang is simply a demon king, too cruel. It is said that he killed dozens of elites of the Blood Hand, Fierce Tiger and Poisonous Wolf organizations, causing the three gangs to suffer heavy losses. Wasn't it said that they were surrounded? How could so many people be killed? I have to say this Huang is extremely smart, and has mastered an extremely brilliant hiding technique, so that these gangs can't find his whereabouts. In the end, the kid specially picked the weakest to deal with those experts under the third heaven of the martial artist realm. It can be imagined that the elites of the gangs are no match for him at all, and they were all killed. Indeed, if this continues, the subordinates of the three gangs will all die, even if there are some high-level leaders left, so what? They will all become commanders and this organization will only exist in name. Therefore, the leaders of the three gangs are furious and decided to join hands. They can't let this kid continue to act so recklessly. To be able to make the three gangs of Black Moon City join hands to deal with him, even if this Huang is dead, his name will be passed down through the ages. It's hard to say, according to his previous performance, this Huang may not die. I think he is dead for sure. The three gangs have such terrifying strength, they are simply the local tyrants of Black Moon City. No matter how strong that Huang is, how can he deal with these three local tyrants? Even if he is a fierce dragon crossing the river, it is impossible. Many people in Black Moon City were discussing, this was the biggest thing that happened in Black Moon City in recent years. The three gangs joined hands to deal with a rookie who had just entered the martial artist realm. this was simply unheard of. One could well imagine just how many people this fella angered, making these three great organizations abandon their past enmity, set aside all differences, everything for the sake of killing this Huang. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Soon, the Fierce Tiger Organization, the Poisonous Wolves Organization, and the Blood Hand Organization reached an agreement. They split into more than a dozen groups, and each group had a venerable warrior at the fifth heaven or even the sixth heaven. They would definitely not give that brat any opportunity to launch a sneak attack. With these powerhouses suppressing them, they believed that if they encountered that guy again, they would be able to trap that bastard or even kill him. In fact, the dozen or so squads split up into different directions and set off together. They had to trap that brat in a certain corner, not giving him any chance to escape. The effect of this method was obvious. As expected, the chances of being ambushed were greatly reduced, to the point where there was no chance at all. Haha, this kid is really at his wit's end. Even if he has wings, he won't be able to escape from the joint forces of our three major organizations. Once we have a powerhouse in our team, what can that brat do? If you dare come over, you'll die. Let's split into a dozen teams and surround this kid from all directions. This kid won't be able to escape even if he grows wings. Just you wait. Very soon this bastard will be forced into a corner. He has killed so many of our brothers. Tonight, I want him to die without a burial place. No, killing him like this is too easy on him. We must torture him ruthlessly. I want him to beg for death, and I will even slaughter his entire family. Look, that kid is in front. We finally found that bastard. The elites of the three great organizations were all excited to the extreme. They finally found Huang's figure. That bastard was currently fleeing into the distance, looking like he was at a loss of what to do, panicking as if he didn't care where he was going. Huang. Seeing Xiaoping's appearance, the person in charge of the Fierce Tiger Organization, Qingguohua, a powerhouse at the sixth heaven of the martial artist realm, roared, "Stop immediately! I can make the decision to leave your corpse intact." With a boom he punched out. Air billowed like a divine tiger roaring in the forest. This was the terrifying power of the sixth heaven of the martial artist realm after he had opened up 6 acupoints. The fist attacked, stirring up a strong wind. It bombarded over 100 meters away, producing a terrifying power. With a bang, the wall of a building in front of him immediately collapsed. Rubble flew everywhere and a large piece of the wall was smashed into pieces. However, Xiaoping's figure flickered. Using the Kunpeng step, he was extremely fast and dodged the punch. Huang. The crown prince of the Blood Hand Organization, Lu Lai, also shouted excitedly, "Let's see where you can run to. Even if you run to the ends of the earth, we will still catch you. We will skin you alive and pull out your tendons. You won't be able to escape." Seeing that the kid was running away like a timid rabbit, he was extremely excited. This guy was so arrogant before. He was simply condescending and did not take the crown prince of the Bloody Hand Organization seriously at all. He killed people when he said he wanted to and even slapped his face in front of him. He was unscrupulous. But now he was fleeing like a stray dog. Seeing such a scene, not to mention how excited Lu Lai was now, he simply wanted to roar to the sky. "Young man, hurry up and stop." Lu Xing, the head of the Poisonous Wolf Organization, said with a sinister smile, "Surrounded by our three major organizations, where can you escape to? If you surrender, I can make the decision to spare your life and not hurt you." He was very sinister, trying to persuade Xiaoping to surrender. Once Xiaoping really surrendered, they would have the final say in what to do. It was more reliable to believe that a sow could climb a tree than to believe the words of an underworld figure. "Don't go too far. Even a rabbit will bite when it's anxious, do you know?" Xiaoping revealed a flustered and exasperated look, a little panicked, but he still used the Kunping step, always maintaining a certain distance from these underworld figures. Not long after, he ran into an abandoned warehouse. "You've gone too far. Kid, you also know what it means to go too far. Heaven has eyes, finally killing this hateful bastard. Those brothers who died will also be gratified. Even a rabbit will bite when it's anxious. I'll bite you. Bite me if you have the ability. Just now, you were so arrogant, relying on your strength to do evil everywhere, killing innocent people. You also have this day. If you can escape today, I'll eat shit immediately. Stop struggling, immediately surrender, stretch out your neck, and die is the only ending for you. I asked you to surrender before, but you didn't surrender. You still want to surrender now? It's too late, do you know? No one in the world can tolerate you." The people of the three major underworld organizations all surrounded Xiaoping. The entire abandoned warehouse was filled with the elites of the three major organizations, each of them looking fierce, revealing a terrible murderous aura. Chapter 214. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The entire warehouse was filled with people from the three gangs. They were everywhere, surrounding the place so tightly that not even a fly could pass through. At this time, Xiaoping was surrounded by this group of people. This group of gangsters were like hungry wolves staring at Xiaoping. It seemed like they would immediately pounce on him and tear him to pieces if there was any movement. "You guys are a bit too much." Xiaoping looked at the people around him and said faintly, "Bullying us with numbers, no heroism at all. If you have the guts, let's fight one-on-one and fight for 300 rounds. One-on-one, my ass." A gangster jumped out and shouted, "We're obviously bullying you with numbers. What's wrong with that? It doesn't matter how many people come out to deal with a shameless bastard like you." That's right, that's right. You want to fight us one-on-one? Dream on. After killing so many of our people, who the hell would talk about justice with you? Don't be stupid. This is reality, not some TV show. Wake up. If you want to fight one-on-one, it's fine. You can fight us one-on-one. If you have the guts, come up. We promise not to kill you. Many gangsters were proud and comfortable. They finally caught this damn bastard. Thinking of what happened before, they simply wanted to strangle this guy to death. If it wasn't for this kid jumping up and down and stirring up trouble, how could they lose so many people and so many elites? These elites couldn't be bought back even if you had money. Huang, to think that this day would come for you. The Crown Prince of Blood Hand, Lu Lai, sighed and said, "You were so arrogant before, treating our blood hand as fake, not putting us in your eyes at all. You even killed our people. Now you are like a fish on the chopping board waiting to be slaughtered. Let's see how you can be arrogant now. Kneel for me immediately." He felt extremely comfortable as he stared at Xiaoping fiercely. He wanted to humiliate this brat before he died, and completely trample on this brat's dignity. Otherwise he wouldn't be able to vent the anger in his heart. "Yes, get down immediately. Crawl over like a dog, I'll throw you a bone. A trash like you dares to be so arrogant in Black Moon City? Who do you think you are?" A group of people from the underworld clamored. They were extremely domineering as they looked at Xiaoping with contempt. The way they looked at Xiaoping was like looking at a dog that was tied up with a rope at home. They could beat and scold him at will. The members of the ferocious tiger and poisonous wolves also sneered. Many of their men had been killed by this brat and they had suffered heavy losses. This humiliation was just the interest. They had wasted so much of their manpower and resources and lost so many elites. How could a few rounds of torture make up for it? If they didn't torture this guy to the point where he didn't look like a human, they wouldn't let this matter rest. A bunch of idiots. Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back and looked at the group of people indifferently. "Do you think you can defeat me just like that? What a joke. Trash like you don't even have the qualifications to harm a single finger of mine." With a bang he instantly took out a white fruit from his body. There were circles of strange patterns on it. This was the cloud mist fruit he had exchanged from the system. It was worth 1,000 hatred points. And this fruit was a rare fruit of heaven and earth. Once it was smashed on the ground, the power of the fruit would explode. White clouds and mist would surge out, and in an instant, it would cover a radius of 3 kilometers. Staying in this cloud and mist, it was impossible to see anything clearly. Moreover, it had the effect of interfering with spiritual power, making people feel as if they were in a maze, unable to find any way out. Boom! Before these people could react, Xiaoping immediately smashed the fruit on the ground. Immediately, a cloud of white mist surged out. With the abandoned warehouse as the center, a radius of 3 kilometers was wrapped in white mist. Damn it, what the hell happened? Where did this white mist come from? Where is that bastard? Where is that bastard? Why can't I see anything? Damn it, catch him immediately. Don't let him escape. It's useless. My spiritual power can't sense anything at all. It's disturbed by this white mist. Be careful, that bastard may sneak attack. Don't be careless. Shameless Huang, he actually used such a despicable method. If you have the guts, come and fight me one-on-one. Let's fight for 300 rounds. Suddenly the elites of the 3 major gangs panicked. They found that they couldn't see anything in this place. They were surrounded by white clouds and mist, and they couldn't even see the people around them. In this situation, it was as if their eyes had been blinded and they couldn't see anything. And what was even more terrifying was that there was a tyrannical enemy around them. They didn't dare to act rashly for fear of being sneak attacked by Xia Ping and dying a violent death. How could they have imagined that such a situation would happen? They couldn't imagine that there was such a rare fruit of heaven and earth in the world. It was too illegal and impossible to guard against. Lu Lai was also angry and anxious. He was so angry that he had surrounded this bastard. There should be nowhere to escape, but how could such an accident happen? Could it be that this bastard was a cockroach with a tenacious vitality that couldn't be killed? Whoosh. At this time, Xia Ping stepped out of the Kunpeng step and rushed towards the outside of the white mist. In just 3 minutes he was 3 kilometers away from the abandoned warehouse and out of the white mist. The reason why he was able to get rid of the interference of the white mist was that Xia Ping spent 500 hatred points to exchange for a treasure that could fight against the cloud mist fruit and see through the mist. However, this cloud mist fruit also has a time limit. It can only exist for more than 3 minutes. Once the time is over, the white mist will disappear automatically. After all, it is also something worth 1,000 hatred points, and the effect can be more than 3 minutes. And Xia Ping just wants to use this fruit to trap these underworld figures together and buy him time to escape. Goodbye. Xia Ping took out a remote control from his body. This is a remote control time bomb, also obtained from the Black Bear Company. Before, he had buried a large number of explosives in the abandoned warehouse, and now it was just the right time to detonate it. With a snap, he pressed the button without hesitation. Rumble, suddenly the explosives buried on the ground of the warehouse immediately exploded, which was equivalent to the power of thousands of tons of explosives exploding at the same time, causing a huge shock within a radius of 10 kilometers. With the abandoned warehouse as the center, it immediately erupted, producing a huge black mushroom cloud, dispersing the white clouds, and the entire warehouse was blown up at this moment, turning into ashes. Chapter 215. What a beautiful firework. Looking at the warehouse 3 kilometers away, a huge black mushroom cloud rose and layers of heat waves rolled over. Xia Ping felt refreshed all over. He had finally eliminated this group of gangsters. He had been besieged by this group of gangsters for more than a month. His life was always in danger and he could hardly leave. He had also endured for a long time. Now he finally broke out and set up layers of traps to eliminate this group of enemies. Even if these underworld figures were tyrannical, under the power of such an explosion, only death awaited them. It did not mean that martial warrior realm experts were invincible. In front of such a powerful bomb, they were also extremely fragile. If one wanted to resist the power of the bomb, he had to at least advance to the martial master realm. People of that level could really sweep away thousands of troops. They were not afraid of the power of the bomb and could become the existence of an army general. There are still people who are not dead? Xia Ping's eyes flashed. He saw 2 or 3 figures flying out from the center of the explosion in the distance. However, these figures were scorched black and on fire, emitting a terrible evil aura. With a swoosh, he moved closer to take a look. These 3 people were Lu Lai, the prince of the Bloodhand organization, Lu Xing, a senior member of the Poisonous Wolf organization, and Qin Guohua, a senior member of the Fierce Tiger organization. These 3 people had actually survived the violent explosion and were not dead. Lu Lai is actually alive? Xia Ping was very surprised. He did not find it strange that people like Lu Xing and Qin Guohua could survive. After all, they were experts in the 6th heaven of the martial warrior realm. It was normal for them to have some trump cards. However, Lu Lai was only an expert in the 2nd heaven of the martial warrior realm. How could he survive? The clothes on his body, it can't be, it's actually power armor? Xia Ping was taken aback. He clearly saw that Lu Lai was wearing a black armor. And in the middle of this armor, there was a nuclear power battery emitting a faint blue light, shining in the dark night. His whole body was surrounded by a layer of energy shield. It was because of this energy shield that a large amount of the power of the explosion was blocked, allowing Lu Lai to survive. A rich man. Xia Ping could not help but sigh. This power armor was a military item, a military weapon that was prohibited from being sold. Only the army could use it. It was illegal for others to use it. Of course, this group of people were all gangsters, so smuggling and selling weapons was a common occurrence. But even so, such a power armor was worth 1.5 billion federal coins. After wearing it, it could withstand the power of an intense explosion. Even a powerhouse at the 9th layer of the martial disciple realm could not kill it. One could imagine how precious this power armor was. However, after such an intense explosion, the power armor's energy had been depleted. If there was another explosion like the one just now, Lu Lai would probably be dead. Lu Xing and Qin Guohua were the same. They were wearing protective clothing, which was a bulletproof vest that could withstand laser guns. Its defensive power was extremely amazing. It was precisely because of this protective suit that they were able to preserve their lives. But now they were in tatters and even one of their arms had been blown off. Large amounts of blood flowed out of their bodies. Their heads were like weeds and their faces were pitch black like charcoal. They looked like African refugees and they looked extremely miserable. Huang. Seeing Xiaoping appear, Lu Lai, Lu Xing and Qin Guohua almost went mad with rage. Their eyes revealed terrifying anger. If looks could kill, Xiaoping would have died 1,000 times. Originally they had the advantage and could kill Xiaoping like killing pigs and dogs. But who would have thought that this kid was so despicable and shameless that he actually laid a bomb in the warehouse and killed all their people in an instant? More than half of the elites of the 3 major organizations were lost. This was an unprecedented loss and this was a heart-wrenching pain. It was not their fault that they did not think of this trap. Xiaoping was really too treacherous. Who would have thought that there was a bomb in the place where this guy stayed? After all, once the bomb detonated, this kid might also be killed. They also did not believe that with this kid's peerless talent, he had the potential to advance to the king realm. Why would he want to die together with them? This was unreasonable. But how could they imagine that there was such a strange thing as the cloud mist fruit in the world? They were suddenly surrounded, and even if they wanted to escape, they could not find a way out. A few minutes later, the bomb detonated, and all their people were buried inside. Fortunately, they usually had a sense of crisis and always wore protective clothing to protect their bodies. Otherwise, they would definitely go to hell with their subordinates. I'm going to kill you. Huang, give me your life. Lu Xing and Qin Guohua both shouted angrily. They could no longer suppress the anger in their hearts. The two of them pounced forward like fierce tigers, tearing through the air with unparalleled ferocity. They used a killing move as soon as they attacked, showing no mercy. Idiot, you want to kill me with your current strength? Xiaoping's eyes revealed a trace of coldness. If it was Lu Xing and Qin Guohua at their peak, he might be a little afraid. But after the bomb bombardment, the two of them had lost an arm, and their lungs were seriously injured. Their strength had been reduced by 70% to 80%, and they had long fallen to the third heaven of the martial artist realm. They could not be compared to before. But the two of them were mad and lost their minds. They did not realize the gap in strength between them. Myriad Beast's fist's third move, bear-splitting palm. Boom. Xiaoping suddenly attacked. His whole body was like an ancient black bear, and the momentum of his body suddenly rose. The ground was shaken by the terrifying force into cracks, and a deep pit appeared under his feet. With a slap, genuine chi filled the air, and a huge bear's paw appeared in mid-air, covering the sky and covering the surroundings, and a terrible pressure filled a radius of hundreds of meters. Bang bang. Lu Xing and Qin Guohua were suddenly slapped by this huge bear's paw. Their whole bodies were swatted away like flies and they coughed up blood. Their internal organs were beaten into meat sauce. Ah! They screamed and were horrified. They did not expect that they would be so vulnerable. The strength of this young man was more terrible than they had imagined. Go to hell. Xiaoping did not show any mercy. Another slap in the air, like a giant bear descending from the sky. With a bang, the bear's paw slapped on the heads of the two people. With a few cracking sounds, their heads were smashed like watermelons, split into pieces and turned into a mass of meat sauce. Lu Xing and Qin Guohua were dead. This. Seeing this scene, Lu Lai, who was originally furious to the extreme, was stunned. Two experts in the sixth heaven of the martial artist realm were actually killed in front of him. Even if their strength was greatly reduced, it was still an extremely shocking thing. Because he suddenly thought that he was no match for this guy at all. If he continued to stay here, he would be killed by this guy with one slap. Run. Chapter 216. Boom. The moment he was escaping, Lu Lai immediately pressed the button of the mobile armor. His body immediately spurted out a strong stream of air, producing a terrifying propulsion force. With a swoosh, his whole body flew out like a rocket, rushing into the sky at an extremely fast speed. This mobile armor not only had powerful defensive abilities, but it also had the ability to escape. If it did not have such a complete set of abilities, it would not have been so expensive. In order to save his own life, Lu Lai had paid a huge price. Wanna run? Is it that easy? Xiaoping immediately chased after him, using the Kunpeng steps. His speed was extremely fast, his true chi tearing through the air. With one step he was already 100 meters away. Using the Kunpeng steps with all his strength, his speed was not any slower than Lu Lai's escaping speed. Damn it! Hurry up! Hurry up! Lu Lai's face was extremely anxious. He ran towards the depths of Black Moon City, leaping and jumping trying to get away from Xia Ping. But Xia Ping chased him relentlessly. His whole body was like a rock, controlling the airflow and gliding over, not giving up. Damn it, if it was not because of the explosion just now, which caused this mobile armor to lose more than half of its energy, I would have been able to fly several kilometers away in an instant. How could you have caught up to me? Lu Lai gritted his teeth, his eyes fierce. Don't let me escape or you are dead for sure. I will definitely ask my father to personally come and cut off your head. His body emitted a terrifying murderous aura. Die. Xia Ping punched the air, like the roar of a bear, towards Lu Lai's body. Ah! Lu Lai could not dodge in time, taking the punch head-on. His whole body was sent flying. Even with the protection of the mobile armor, he was still shaken to the point of almost coughing out blood. But he did not dare to stop, and instead used the impact to escape into the distance. Right, there is a nightclub of my Blood Hand organization in front. There are many elites of my organization there, they can definitely stop this bastard. Lu Lai suddenly thought of something, and immediately jumped towards the building in front of him. He did not care whether those elites were Huang's opponent or not. Even if they were not, it did not matter. As long as they could help him stop that kid for a while, he would be able to escape. After a few breaths, he finally arrived at a bustling street. In front of him was a 5 or 6 floor tall nightclub. It was dazzling and there were many customers around. It was very lively. Child Lu. There were more than 10 security guards of Blood Hand in front of the nightclub. They immediately recognized Lu Lai, who was running towards them, and immediately greeted him. Someone is chasing me. Kill him immediately. Shoot him. Seeing this, Lu Lai was overjoyed and shouted with all his might. What? The dozens of security guards in front of the nightclub were shocked. There was actually someone who dared to chase after the crown prince of the Blood Hand organization? Was he courting death? He was too arrogant. However, when they saw Xia Ping chasing them from behind, they instinctively took out their laser guns and fired wildly at Xia Ping. Bang bang bang. Instantly, countless laser beams shot over, forming a barrage of death, covering Xia Ping's body. Once hit, his entire body would be pierced through, turning into a beehive. Kunpeng step. Xia Ping had long since noticed the movements of these gunmen. His figure flickered and countless figures appeared on the ground. They walked in strange footsteps, approaching quickly from afar. Those lasers suddenly fell into the air. None of the lasers hit Xia Ping. They all bombarded the ground, creating a huge pit, gravel splashing and smoke rising. Come out, all the people inside, come out, kill him, shoot him. Lu Lai roared at the nightclub and ordered the elites of the Blood Hand organization to come out. Whiz whiz whiz. Immediately, more than a dozen people ran out of the nightclub, each with a laser gun, pointing the black muzzle at Xia Ping and shooting wildly. What? In an instant, dozens of lasers shot over, covering the surrounding space, making it impossible for people to escape. Xia Ping's figure jumped into the air like a rock. Bang! Although he avoided most of the attacks, there were still a few lasers that hit Xia Ping's body and collided fiercely with his Dark North body protection technique. Boom! Xia Ping was hit by a few lasers and flew out upside down. A trace of blood could not help but seep out of the corner of his mouth. Fortunately, his Dark North body protection technique was extremely powerful, and his body protection in HE was strong. Otherwise, his body would have been pierced by a few lasers. Yes, that's it, shoot and kill him, kill him. Seeing Xia Ping injured and retreating, Lu Lai was overjoyed and issued orders to kill Xia Ping. You are courting death. Xia Ping was angry, his body exuded a terrifying aura. These gunmen actually dared to stop him. This is the road to death. Roar, the second style of Myriad Beast Fist. Lion Roar. A roar came out like the roar of a lion king. The mountain forest shook, producing a terrifying sound wave to the extreme, and the sound wave visible to the naked eye swept across, like ripples in the water. Bang bang bang. The security guards of the Blood Hand organization standing in front of the nightclub all screamed and were hit by these sound waves. The whole person was sluggish and stood stupidly in the same place, bleeding from the 7 orifices, and the lungs were seriously injured. There were terrifying cracks on the ground as if someone had swept it with a bulldozer. Even the entire nightclub building had more than a dozen terrifying cracks, as if it was going to collapse. A bunch of waste. Seeing that the gunmen were killed by a roar, Lu Lai was shocked and angry, but there was nothing he could do. After all, the strength of these gunmen was not strong, they were only martial disciples. Even if the power of laser guns could injure martial disciples, their bodies were not strong, and they were killed by a shock from a distance. There was no way they could resist. Sometimes, the power of a weapon was not omnipotent. Lu Lai, let's see who can stop me from killing you. Xia Ping's body exuded a terrifying murderous aura. Facing such an enemy who was like a jackal and wolf, he wanted to get rid of him quickly. If he continued to let such a ruthless person live, he would probably not be able to eat and sleep in peace. If this guy found out his true identity, it might be another loss and it might even implicate his family. Snipers, shoot me immediately. Lu Lai roared. In this stronghold of the Blood Hand organization, not only were there powerful gunmen, but there were also security guards like snipers. They hid in the distant tall buildings, always paying attention to the nightclub's safety, and if anything happened, they would immediately attack and kill the enemy. Bang bang bang. In the blink of an eye, 5 or 6 ear-piercing sounds came from high up in the sky, tearing through the air like cannonballs, bombarding towards Xia Ping's body with a terrifying threat. Chapter 217. What? Xia Ping's spirit power spread out and sensed the situation of the surrounding air. He also felt a strong sense of danger. Without thinking, he immediately retreated tens of meters. Bang bang bang. Sniper bullets flew over and bombarded the ground, creating terrifying craters. The ground trembled and dozens of terrifying cracks appeared on it. Once this kind of sniper bullet hit the body, even an elephant would be torn in half. There are 3 snipers. Xia Ping immediately sensed that there was a sniper on the top floor of a tall building in the distance. There was a terrifying killing intent coming from above, staring at him like a tiger watching its prey. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. And those 3 snipers were all sharpshooters with 100 shots. Once they found their target, unless they killed the enemy, they would definitely not hold back. In just a breath's time, another 5 or 6 sniper bullets shot over like cannonballs. Xia Ping dodged again and again, but he could not get close to Lu Lai and could only retreat. Yes, that's right. Seeing this, Lu Lai was immediately overjoyed. He continued to run into the distance, leaving the nightclub. With these snipers blocking desolate, he would be able to escape. When he returned to the headquarters of the Blood Hand organization, he would be completely safe. No matter how strong this brat was, he would not dare to make a move in the headquarters unless he wanted to die. You think I can't kill you guys on the top of a tall building? Seeing that Lu Lai was planning to escape, but there were still 3 snipers blocking him, Xia Ping's heart surged with anger, emitting a monstrous killing intent. With a bang, he punched the wall beside him, immediately creating a big hole. Rubble rolled down, revealing the reinforced concrete inside. Xia Ping casually grabbed, and with a cracking sound, he immediately twisted and broke a 70 to 80 centimeters long reinforced concrete bar. He grabbed this 1 centimeter diameter reinforced concrete bar with his right hand and tightly gripped it. Immediately, he left 5 fingerprints on the reinforced concrete bar and seeped into it. His body slightly bent down, his spine stretched like a giant dragon. All the muscles in his body tightened, every bone was trembling, creaking, and a terrifying power was transmitted. This tyrannical power continuously extended from the soles of his feet, his spine, his arms, and finally to his 5 fingers, producing an extremely terrifying power. His entire person was like a god from the ancient times. Shoo. At this moment, Xia Ping hurled the steel bar out. It tore through the air like Ho-E shooting the sun, producing a terrifying might. Chi waves surged and an ear-piercing sound could be heard. No no no. The sniper on the top floor of a building in the east was originally staring at Xia Ping in satisfaction, shooting at him casually. He was extremely safe and his heart was extremely calm. But in the next second, a terrifying steel bar flew over from the ground. It reached the sound barrier and tore through the air. His pupils dilated in fear. He wanted to escape, but it was too late. Just as the thought came to his mind, the steel bar was thrown at him. Bang! With just 1 strike, the steel bar pierced through his head, causing a large amount of blood to burst out. At the same time, the terrifying impact threw his entire body dozens of meters away. With a bang, his entire body was sent flying backward along with the steel bar. Finally, he was ruthlessly nailed to the wall of the opposite building. Just like that, the sniper was nailed to the wall. His body hung in midair, the steel bar pierced through his skull and blood dripped down. Even the walls of the building had 2 or 3 cracks that extended for dozens of meters. This. The surrounding people were scared to the point of peeing their pants, trembling all over. How could they have expected this young man to be so ferocious? He could still accurately throw a steel bar across a building that was hundreds of stories high? With just one move, the sniper was killed and his head was blown up. Damn it, run! The other 2 snipers could not help but feel a chill in their hearts. Even though they were separated by hundreds of stories, they still did not feel safe. Xiao. But at this moment, Xia Ping attacked again. At the same time, 2 steel bars flew out at an extremely fast speed. In the blink of an eye, the 2 steel bars crossed hundreds of meters and arrived in front of the snipers. No. The 2 snipers screamed in pain. They wanted to give up their sniper rifles and escape, but before they could take 2 steps out of the place, 2 steel bars pierced through their heads in an instant, revealing a bloody hole. They were easily killed. They couldn't even escape. Damn it, trash, all of you are trash. Seeing the snipers killed, Lu Lai, who was running away, was scared to the point of peeing his pants. He did not dare to stop at this place at all. But at this moment, another steel bar was thrown, whistling like an ancient flood dragon. It was surrounded by terrible true qi. With a bang, it immediately pierced through Lu Lai's left leg, directly nailing him to the nearby wall. Ah! Lu Lai let out a shrill scream. As the prince of the Blood Hand organization, he had lived a luxurious life since he was a child. He had never suffered such intense pain, so it was not impossible for him to faint now. But he still did not faint because he knew that once he fainted here he would really die. Whoosh! In the blink of an eye, Xia Ping arrived in front of Lu Lai, looking down at him. Spare me this time. Lu Lai cried bitterly, wanting to beg for mercy. My father is the leader of the Blood Hand organization, his net worth is over 10 billion, and he has countless treasures. As long as you spare me this time, I am willing to pay any price. Believe me, my family is very rich, really very rich. And your cultivation also requires a lot of resources. Don't you want the wealth of the Blood Hand organization? Don't you want to obtain a lot of wealth? If you spare me, all of this wealth is yours, all of it is yours. He hoped that Xia Ping would spare his life. I know. Xia Ping suddenly made a move. He descended from the sky and slapped with his palm. True Qi surged like the roar of a bear, and with a bang, it fiercely bombarded Lu Lai's head. With a crack, the top of Lu Lai's head immediately exploded, and blood flowed out of his 7 orifices. His eyes were wide open and tears of blood flowed out, as if he could not believe that he was killed just like that. Moreover, this bastard did not even listen to a word of explanation and killed him with one move. Before dying, he could not believe that in the face of such a shocking wealth, this kid was not moved at all, and did not have the slightest intention of listening to him. If Xia Ping had hesitated even a little bit, he could have activated the power armor and performed a sure kill move, but Xia Ping did not give him such a chance. Chapter 218. Wealth. Looking at Lu Lai's dead body, Xia Ping couldn't help but reveal a cold smile. What was a mere 10 billion from the Blood Hand organization? That was money that couldn't see the light of day. Even if he took it, it would be a waste. Just based on the money he earned from writing novels, he could earn more than 1 billion federal coins every year. Not to mention, once he entered the giant company, his martial arts cultivation would rise steadily. In the future, the money he would earn from hunting monsters would be more than this amount. Trying to tempt him with this amount of money was too naive. Let's go, the trial ends here. Xia Ping looked at the dead Lu Lai indifferently and turned to leave. After destroying most of the elites of the 3 major gangs, no one could stop him from leaving. Whoosh. His figure flickered and he walked toward the airport of Black Moon City, quickly disappearing from where he was. During the time Xia Ping left, the fact that he personally killed Lu Lai in public and set a trap to bury most of the elites of the 3 major gangs was also exposed. Hearing this, the entire Black Moon City was in an uproar. Demon King, this Huang is definitely a Demon King in human form. He's too ruthless. He actually buried all the elites of the 3 major gangs together. I don't know how many people he killed. I reckon that the 3 major gangs have suffered almost irrecoverable damage this time. How can they recover? That's a martial warrior realm expert, not some cabbage that can be found anywhere. How could they possibly recruit him casually? It's simply cruel to the extreme. It's said that Lu Lai, the crown prince of the Blood Hand organization, barely escaped with his life in the explosion, But he was also personally chased by Huang for 9 streets and then killed in public. His head was blown up and he died a miserable death. He really is ruthless. Who would have thought that he would do such a thing? This time the 3 major gangs must be furious. So what if they're furious? They were also angry before, but was there any use? A group of elites were killed, not a single one survived. Even the crown prince of the Blood Hand organization had his head blown up. This is a shock. After enduring for more than a month, everyone thought that he was helpless and could only be a turtle hiding in its shell. But tonight he suddenly erupted and committed such a shocking murder, killing the elites of the underworld. This matter is really too shocking. As expected of a monster who passed the nightmare level trial. He can't be taken lightly. Now that this kid has escaped, it's like a dragon returning to the sea. No one can stop him anymore. The crowd discussed animatedly. They were all completely shocked by this matter. No one would have thought that a single person would cause the 3 great gangs of Black Moon City to be so miserable. Not only did they not get any benefits, but they even lost their elites. The leader of Blood Hand was even more miserable. Even his son was killed in front of everyone. Indeed, the Blood Hand organization's interior was filled with a solemn atmosphere. Many of the elders gathered together, not even daring to breathe loudly for fear of angering their leader, Lu Gang, who was sitting in the chair in front of them. Because of this operation, not only did the Blood Hand organization lose more than half of their elites, even the leader's son was sacrificed. One could imagine how furious Lu Gang was right now. Huang. With a bang, Lu Gang slammed his palm on the wooden table in front of him, immediately turning it into dust. He roared towards the sky, incomparably furious. Not only did he kill many of my Blood Hand organization's elites, he even killed my son Lu Lai. Does he want to die? Does he want to die? I will tear his corpse into 10,000 pieces. He shouted himself hoarse, his anger reaching its peak. The sound waves surged, shattering the glass in the room, and even terrifying cracks appeared on the ground. Kacha-kacha sounds rang out. Notify the entire Blood Hand organization. Lu Gang shouted angrily, mobilize every member, immediately set out to find that Huang's whereabouts, find out that Huang's true identity. I want to know where he came from, where he went. I want to know his family background. I want to know where he was born, where he went to school, where he worked, and who exactly is behind him. As long as I find the slightest clue he leaked out, even if he escapes to the ends of the earth, I will take his life. Even his family will be buried with him. A terrifying killing intent seeped out from his body, making people shiver in fear. Lu Lai was his only son, and could be said to be the future successor of his Blood Hand organization. But now he was killed by that Huang. His lungs were about to explode from anger. If he did not capture that Huang, he would not be able to vent his anger, the hatred in his heart. Yes, boss. The group of Blood Hand organization elders shouted, all of them filled with righteous indignation. Because this time, it was not only the boss' son who died, but also many of the Blood Hand organization's elites. These elites all had a great relationship with them. Some were friends, some were relatives. They remembered this grudge and would never forget it for the rest of their lives. Once they found any clues, they would immediately pounce on that Huang like hungry wolves. It was not only the Blood Hand organization. There was also the Fierce Tiger organization, the Poison Wolf organization, and even the Black Bear Company. These 3 great underworld organizations all issued their own orders. Issue a comprehensive warrant for the great evil Huang. If anyone can kill Huang, immediately reward 1 billion federal coins and 10 bottles of Qi concentration pills. If anyone can provide effective clues about Huang, reward 100 million federal coins. If Huang dares take another step into Black Moon City, kill without mercy. This order will be effective for life. The Blood Hand organization, the Fierce Tiger organization, the Poison Wolf organization, and the Black Bear Company have jointly declared that they will not rest until Huang is dead. A series of orders were issued, shaking the entire Black Moon City. No one thought that the 4 great gangs of Black Moon City would be so decisive. They launched a bounty and issued a comprehensive warrant for Huang. Obviously, the Black Bear Company had also investigated the sudden death of all their elites. All the evidence pointed to Huang. The death of their company's elites was done by this guy. So their company was furious and all of them vowed to catch Huang and tear him to pieces. At this time, Xiaoping also arrived at Black Moon City Airport. Dididi, a mechanical voice came from the system. Congratulations to the host, you have aroused the hatred of a large number of humans. Many people will not rest until the host is dead. This time, You have received a total of 235,763 hatred points. More than 200,000 hatred points? Hearing this, Xiaoping suddenly smiled. With so many hatred points, he can exchange for more rare treasures in the system and constantly enhance his martial arts cultivation base. As for the so-called hatred of the three great gangs or even wanted, when he was promoted to the Martial Master Realm, the Grandmaster Realm, or even the King Realm, it was nothing more than a joke. At that time, these big gangs would probably wish that such a thing had never happened. Chapter 219. At this time in the Black Moon City Airport inside the Black Spaceship. Congratulations on passing the Giant Company's trial and officially becoming a member of the Giant Company. Gu Peng looked at Xiaoping with gratification. Although Xiaoping's return was slightly over time, the time limit was only 1 month. However, the time limit was merely 1 month's time to clear the hard mode trial. Xiaoping had cleared it in just a few days. Naturally, he was considered to have passed. The time limit did not count. He could come back any time from the Black Moon Tower. He had already informed Xiaoping about this, so he did not need to worry. However, this kid was a monster who had passed the nightmare trial. Even if he really exceeded the time limit, it was nothing. He could completely make the Giant Company violate the rules. After all, rules were made by people. In reality, even if the Giant Company did not recruit Xiaoping, the Aurora Company and the Life Company, the two major organizations, would probably frantically throw out an olive branch. They were not so stupid to let a genius leave. However, I did not think that you could really escape from the encirclement of these people. I originally thought that I would have to do it myself. Gu Peng sighed. His eyes were incomparably complicated as he looked at Xiaoping, who came to his side safely. Before this, he could not imagine that this kid could actually do such a thing. He was clearly just a rookie in the first sky of the warrior realm. No, he had already advanced to the second sky of the warrior realm. But even so, facing the pursuit of the 4 major gangs of Black Moon City, there was no way he could survive. To be able to return here in such a sorry state with heavy injuries was already considered strong. However, this kid was not injured at all. He even caused heavy damage to the 4 major gangs, killing countless elites of the underworld and causing them heavy losses. Even the Crown Prince of the Blood Hand organization was killed by him. This kind of achievement was really too exaggerated. Originally, he thought that he would have to personally make a move and slightly break the rules of the Giant Company. But now it seemed that he was thinking too much. Those underworld people could not do anything to him. I passed just like that? Xiaoping blinked his eyes. Gu Peng nodded. Yes, you passed. From this moment on, you are an official member of the Giant Company. Alright, there is also a document. Sign it. With a beep, he sent a document to Xiaoping's phone. What is this? Xiaoping looked at the document. This is the reward. Gu Peng smiled. A villa in the Jiangnan area of Tianshui City and 100 million federal coins. Of course, this reward is nothing to you, but it is a small gift from the Giant Company. Jiangnan Villa? Hearing this sentence, Xiaoping was shocked. The Jiangnan district could be said to be the most luxurious villa area in the entire Tianshui City, and the people living in it were either rich or noble. Moreover, the security measures were complete. It was estimated that even a Master Realm expert would not be able to break in. It was very safe. A house in such a villa area was simply priceless. It was not something that could be bought with money. One also needed to be qualified to buy it. This was a limited edition house. Just this villa alone was worth at least 1 billion federal coins. If his parents lived in this villa in Jiangnan district, he wouldn't need to worry about his parents' safety. As for the reward of 100 million federal coins, it was just a bonus. Thinking of this, Xiaoping immediately signed the contract. All right. Gu Peng was very satisfied and said, "Oh right, there's also a black card here. This is the official employee card of the Giant Company. Your DNA identification, fingerprint identification, etc. are all on it. It can be used as a bank card or credit card. You can use this card to spend money around the world. Other than the Giant Company, no one will be able to trace your whereabouts through this card. Your security level is above SSS. For this level of security, other than the President of the Federation, no one has the qualifications to check it. Moreover, this card can also be used to log into our Giant Company's internal network. Through this internal network, you will be able to purchase all sorts of precious treasures in the world." He stretched out his hand and placed a black card in Xiaoping's hand. Giant Company's internal network? Xiaoping blinked his eyes, feeling very curious. This black card had intricate patterns engraved on it. The word giant was written on it, and it seemed incomparably mysterious. Gu Peng smiled. As for this, as long as you log into the giant company's main page and find the address of the internal network, then scan this black card on the network, you will be able to log in automatically. I wonder how many martial artists want to enter the giant company's internal network because they can purchase all sorts of precious treasures there. Treasures that can't be found in the outside world, heavenly ingredients and earthly treasures that can't be bought even if you have money. If you are interested, you can slowly search for it later. His tone was filled with emotions as he looked at Xia Ping with admiration. All right. Xia Ping nodded. Gu Peng solemnly looked at Xia Ping. Since you have joined the giant company, there is something I can tell you. Don't think that just because you entered the giant company you can be at ease. Within the giant company there are many competitions. Among them, there are disputes involving the strongest families on the planet. The benefits involved are incomparably complicated, and the water is very deep. If you are not careful, you will be crushed into pieces. After entering the giant company, the top families of Yanhuang planet will try to rope you in. The federal government will try to rope you in, and other martial arts organizations will also try to rope you in. You will face all sorts of temptations. Money, beauties, treasures, and so on. However, you have to remember one thing. For a martial artist, the most important thing is strength. Without strength, you are nothing but a fart and no one will look up to you. So, there is only one thing you have to do now. Get into Yanhuang University, obtain more training resources, become stronger, and step on other geniuses. His expression was solemn as he looked at Xia Ping seriously. I understand. Xia Ping nodded. Of course, he knew that entering the giant company was just the beginning, not the end. Everything else was fake. Only martial arts cultivation was real. He thought about how powerful the Black Moon King was. With a single order, even the federal government couldn't touch Black Moon City. This was the power of the King realm. No family, no official, no boss of the underworld could compare to such a strong person. This was the true power that could change the world and make thousands bow. It's good that you know. You must be tired after more than a month. Go and rest. Gu Peng waved his hand. Xia Ping nodded and immediately walked to the lounge of the spaceship next to him. He had been tense for more than a month at the Black Moon Tower, and he was indeed a little tired. Seeing Xia Ping leave, Gu Peng immediately picked up the communicator and said, Master, Xia Ping has passed the trial and officially joined the giant company. He is indeed a seed with potential and has the ability to advance to the King realm. Very good. Continue to train him. In a practice room in the distance, Elder Fong was wearing a white practice suit. He looked at the information sent by his disciple and was very satisfied. Immediately passed down the order. Let the Qinshui City branch send experts of the Supreme Power Realm to watch Xia Ping's family 24 hours a day. Ensure the safety of Xia Ping's family. No accidents can happen. No one can touch the people of the giant company. His eyes were cold and he emitted a terrifying aura. Even the space seemed to be twisted and the whole room was shaking. Yes, Master. Even through the communicator, Gu Peng could feel this terrifying aura. It was as if it was transmitted from thousands of miles away. This kind of pressure was condensed and it brought great pressure to people. But he was also very emotional. They actually sent a grandmaster to watch Xia Ping's family 24 hours a day. This was treatment only elite seeds had. This meant that Xia Ping had already been trained by the giant company as a future King Realm cultivator. Otherwise, they wouldn't have paid such a high price. Chapter 220. Swoosh. In the sky, a black flying ship was flying towards Qinshui City. At this moment, in the resting room of the flying ship, Xia Ping opened a web page and a holographic projection appeared in front of him. He then clicked on the internal member and a page popped up. A robotic voice rang out. Login to the giant company's internal network requires the owner to have a black card and verify identity. Requires the owner to have a black card and verify identity? That's quite tight. Xia Ping nodded. He took out his black card and placed it on the page. A light scanned him from head to toe. Very quickly, a voice rang out. Pupil verification, black card verification, fingerprint verification, confirmed to be the owner. Internal network access permission, official employee. Beep. Another page popped up. On it, all sorts of items were listed. There were a large number of martial arts manuals such as fist techniques, movement techniques, internal techniques, sword techniques, etc. Such a page was like an online shopping mall. All sorts of items could be found. Amazing, every one of them is a secret. There are even king-level manuals. Xiaoping exclaimed. As expected of the giant company, top-notch cultivation techniques that were hard to find in the outside world could be found everywhere. However, the price of every manual was very expensive. Ordinary Grandmaster-level manuals would cost over 100 million, Grandmaster-level manuals would cost a few billion, and King-level manuals would cost over 10 billion. Also, it wasn't something you could buy just because you wanted to. Some of the more valuable manuals required authority. For example, when Xiaoping first joined the giant company, he was only an official employee. After that, he was an elite employee, then a supervisor, then a high-level leader, etc. Every level had a corresponding authority. If one wanted to buy the items listed, not only did they need money, they also needed authority. However, I don't need these manuals for now. I have the Pure Yang Immortal Art, Dark North Protection Technique, etc. There's no need to buy other manuals. Let's look at other things. Xiaoping looked at the intranet. There were all kinds of firearms sold there, such as laser guns, nuclear bullets, time bombs, nuclear-powered armor, plasma knives, and so on. Even spaceships could be purchased. All kinds of weapons were available. There were also cold weapons, long blades, treasured swords, flying knives, iron hammers, etc. These weapons were made with the most advanced technology. They were incomparably sharp and of high quality, enough to fight against terrifying monsters. Of course, the prices were also very high. These things were prohibited by the Federation's laws, but they could be purchased legally in the giant company. This was the privilege of being a member of the giant company. Weapons are also very important to warriors, but I don't need them now. I'm facing the college entrance examination, and I need to improve my martial arts strength. It won't be too late to buy these weapons when I go on an adventure in the future. Xiaoping's eyes flickered as he thought about his plan. In other words, what I need to buy now are medicinal pills that can increase my martial arts strength as well as various genetic medicines and so on. With a snap, he clicked open the page related to medicinal pills. Immediately, a pile of extremely precious pills was listed on it, such as the 9 Yang pill, the purple gold pill, the Yin Yang longevity pill, and so on. Each pill was worth more than 10 billion. Only the top management of the company could buy it. I don't need to consider pills that are too precious. I'm only in the martial warrior realm now. I shouldn't bite off more than I can chew. What suits me is the best. Xiaoping was very calm. He was not fooled by these precious pills. Pills that were too high grade weren't a good thing for low-level warriors. They contained too much energy. If an ordinary warrior consumed them, they wouldn't be able to absorb the energy and would instead be a disaster. Some warriors were too greedy and consumed some peerless pills, causing their bodies to explode from the energy and self-destruct. This kind of thing would occasionally happen, and it was a lesson learned. Bailuo pill. Very quickly, Xiaoping found a pill that was suitable for his current cultivation. He looked at the introduction on it. This is a pill refined from the Bailuo Qi of the green tree. It contains a majestic life energy, more than 10 times that of the gold medicine. It is suitable for martial warrior realm experts to consume. It can increase the body's potential and cultivation. One pill is worth 100 million federal coins. I have 800 million federal coins on me plus the 100 million reward from the giant company. I have a total of 900 million. I can buy 9 pills. However, I don't need to buy all of them. I'll buy 5 first to test it out. If there's a significant effect, I'll continue to buy. As the saying goes, money is only money when it's spent. If it's not spent, it's just waste paper. Although the store of the super hate system could also exchange for similar pills, Xiaoping still preferred to buy them from the giant company. This was because he could earn federal coins at will, but he couldn't get hate points at will. It could be said that the value of hate points was above federal coins. If it wasn't a really critical moment, Xiaoping generally didn't want to use it. Good steel should be used on the blade's edge. If he could use federal coins to solve a problem, he would use federal coins to solve it. With a beep, Xiaoping clicked to buy. Please confirm. Do you need to pay 500 million federal coins to buy 5 Bailuo pills? A voice came from the giant company's page. Confirm. Xiaoping clicked. Okay, the payment is successful. The 5 Bailuo pills will be sent to Xiaoping's house within 24 hours. Please check when the time comes. A voice came from the page again. After obtaining 5 Bailuo pills, it can greatly reduce my cultivation time. Who knows, I might be able to open the third acupoint very soon and advance to the third level of the martial warrior realm. Xia Ping clenched his fists, his eyes revealing a glimmer of light. He couldn't help but sigh. After joining the giant company, there were really many benefits. He could spend money to buy such precious pills at will. Other martial artists simply didn't have a way to buy them. Even if there was a way, an ordinary martial artist wanting to buy a Bailuo pill would cost more than 100 million. After an auction, it could reach at least 300 million federal coins. One could imagine how many benefits there were to have the backing of the giant company. In addition to these pills, the company's internal network also sold all kinds of precious special items. For example, one could also buy a portion of Flood Dragon blood, which was worth 100 billion federal coins. After consuming this Flood Dragon blood, one could temper their body and obtain a body like that of a Flood Dragon, possessing the natural strength of a Flood Dragon and infinite strength. A portion of Water of Life was worth 200 billion federal coins. After consuming it, one could regrow severed limbs and recover all the hidden injuries on the body. It was a supreme holy water. A portion of Immortal Phoenix blood was worth 300 billion federal coins. After consuming it, one would have an extremely strong recovery ability. This kind of recovery ability was tens of times or even hundreds of times that of ordinary people. It could almost be considered as an immortal body. If I used the system to exchange for these things, I don't know how much hate points I would need and how many people I would have to offend. But now that I can buy them with federal coins, it seems that I have to earn more money in the future. Xia Ping clenched his fists. Even though the super hate system was of great help to him, he didn't want to be completely bound by this system. He wasn't a puppet of the system. He wanted to be independent. Even if this system suddenly disappeared, he could survive in this world and even become stronger, standing at the peak of martial arts. Tianshui City, I've arrived. Chapter 221. I'm finally back. Stepping onto the land of Tianshui City and arriving at Tianshui City 95th High, Xia Ping looked at the familiar scenery around him and was very emotional. This was also the first time he had left Tianshui City for such a long time, more than a month. Although this period of time was not particularly long, it felt like a lifetime. However, after going to university, he would probably completely leave Tianshui City. This was like a nestling growing up and leaving its parents. This was the path of life. Thinking of this, Xia Ping shook his head, put aside his thoughts and walked towards the school. However, as soon as he entered the school, it immediately caused a commotion in the entire school. The nearby students all recognized Xia Ping because Xia Ping had long been a celebrity in Tianshui City 95th High. There was simply no one who didn't know him. Look, isn't that the legendary Xia Ping? It can't be. Why is he here? Didn't they say he took more than a month off and went to Black Moon City? After all, more than a month has passed. No matter how reluctant he is to miss the gentleness of Black Moon City, it's time to come back. After all, it's time for the college entrance exam. What an amazing person, staying in Black Moon City for more than a month. Could it be that he visited all the brothels in Black Moon City? Playing with so many women all day, this bastard isn't afraid of kidney deficiency? Maybe he's already weak, relying on medicine to support him. Damn, it's good to have money. You can buy all kinds of medicine. The surrounding students were all whispering, secretly looking at Xia Ping, who walked in from the school gate, but they didn't dare to approach. They just stood at a distance, each with a look of envy and jealousy. Some girls looked at Xia Ping with disdain. My going to Black Moon City was exposed? Right, I think I broadcasted online for a period of time, probably at that time it was exposed. Hearing the voices around him, Xia Ping touched his chin. It seemed that his reputation had unknowingly become worse. However, he was already used to it, ignored the surrounding students and walked towards his classroom. A few minutes later, Xia Ping came to his seat. He looked around and found that Jianghu didn't seem to be in his seat. He didn't know if he didn't come to school for the time being or asked for leave. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. A group of male students surrounded him, each with a curious look on their faces. Xia Ping, I heard that you took a month off and went to Black Moon City. Just what did you do there? A male student asked. This was also a question that many people were concerned about. Nothing much. I just went to that place to cultivate, Xia Ping said honestly. If you want to brag, then continue to brag. A group of students looked at Xia Ping with contempt. How could they not know this guy's character? He was definitely the kind of super invincible big pervert. He had already gone to a place like Black Moon City, which was filled with filth. How could he possibly have only gone to that place to cultivate? He had definitely gone to Black Moon City to do many things that could not see the light of day. What do you think of the women in that city? A classmate asked from another angle. Xia Ping said righteously, I don't have any opinion. All of them are very shameless and dressed in revealing clothes. I personally despise this kind of dressing. In order to criticize their behavior, I teach those women all kinds of moral education every day, hoping that they can learn from their mistakes and escape from the sea of suffering. Damn moral education. Education my ass. As he taught, he would probably start rolling in the sheets. A group of people despised this shameless Xia Ping's hypocritical appearance. To be able to talk about prostitution so righteously, this guy was also a unique scorpion shit. Sure enough, this bastard's shamelessness was innate. It was inherited in his genes. It was deep in his bones. Amazing. As expected of the champion of the fighting competition. Even when cultivating hard, he didn't forget to educate those shameless women. As expected, he is a role model for our generation. Isn't that so? How could an ordinary person do such a thing? While studying hard, he also didn't forget to pay attention to society. Every day he went to the door to persuade those prostitutes to realize their mistakes. This is quite an extraordinary behavior. That's why he is the champion of the fighting competition. First of all, our thoughts can't keep up. All day long, we only know how to bury our heads and study, not paying attention to outside matters. A group of people flattered. You're too polite. Next time when there's a chance, let's all go to Black Moon City together and give those women a lesson in moral education. Let them realize their mistakes. Xia Ping cupped his hands, very modest. Realize their mistakes, my ass. All the girls in the class were mad with anger. If these beasts who only knew how to think with the lower half of their bodies really went to that place, they might not be willing to come back. When the time came, who would be educating who? It was estimated that when the time came, these men would not be released until they were squeezed dry of all their money. Really? If there's such a chance to go to Black Moon City, I'd be happy to give it a try. Cough cough, if I feel that doing this can be meaningful to society, I'd be happy to help. If I don't go to hell, who will? After reading so many books for so many years, whether or not there are any results depends on today. A group of students sighed to the sky. Their eyes were all shining. They all wanted to follow Xia Ping into Black Moon City to see for themselves. Without an acquaintance to lead the way, they still felt a little guilty. However, with an acquaintance like Xia Ping, bringing them over to see for themselves would probably not be a big problem. Well said, well said. Xia Ping waved his hand. Why don't we choose this weekend? Taking advantage of the college entrance examination, we'll go there to criticize and see how much evil is hidden in this world. See how many dirty places there are in this world. Shut up. Originally, Xia Ping still wanted to say something, but suddenly there was an angry shout at the door of the classroom. Immediately, all the students looked over and immediately saw a great beauty standing outside the door with a face full of anger. This woman was their class teacher, Qiushua. Don't mention how angry Qiushua was now. Originally, she came to school in a very good mood today and planned to attend class, but who could have thought that when she came to the classroom she saw Xia Ping coming back? It doesn't matter if this bastard comes back, but he is actually in school making trouble here in the class. Not only does he want to go to Black Moon City to whore, but he even wants to take the whole class of male students to whore together. My God, this bastard can do this kind of thing. Not only is he a scum, but he also intends to take a group of scum. If this bastard really takes a group of classmates to Black Moon City to whore, there is no doubt that this matter will immediately become the news of the entire Qianshui city. At that time, what will others think of her, the class teacher? What will they say about her, Qiushua? Why did she teach such a group of shameless students? They are only high school students, but they go to that kind of dirty place. It's shameless. She now understands what a mouse shit spoils a pot of soup. This is a clear example. Xia Ping, come out immediately. Chapter 222. At this time in the teacher's office, Qiushi was staring angrily at the student in front of her, Xia Ping, and said, Xia Ping, tell me what the hell is going on. You took more than a month off to fool around outside and I don't care about you. This is your freedom. But as soon as you come back to school, you start to come here and cause trouble. What kind of place do you think the school is? Is it a brothel you can go to with money? You actually want to organize classmates to go to Black Moon City to do that kind of shameless thing? Only you can think of it. She was very angry, criticizing Xia Ping. Teacher, this is not my fault. mainly because the students strongly asked me to share some learning experience. It is not good to refuse, otherwise it will hurt the friendship between students. Xia Ping felt very innocent. Sophistry. Qiushu was mad, at this level still dare to quibble, saying that this is learning experience, bullshit learning experience. What is there to learn from the experience of going to Black Moon City to prostitute? Most of the people who learn this kind of experience are not good people. And with your virtue of stirring up trouble everywhere, afraid that others will not bear a grudge against you, will you worry about hurting the friendship between classmates? No one will believe it. Clearly, this guy just wanted to come back to school to show off and lead the other students astray. Xia Ping. Qiushu sternly educated Xia Ping and said, "You came to school to learn martial arts knowledge, not to learn those filthy things. You're only a high school student, yet you go to that kind of dirty place and hang around with those shameless women. Are you worthy of your parents' hard work in raising you?" "Teacher, I'm actually going to Black Moon City to cultivate. As for those filthy places, I don't usually go there. Usually I'll just walk on the road and those women will pull me in, so it's not easy to refuse." Xia Ping expressed that he actually didn't really want to go, and it was all those women who forced him. They all wore revealing clothes and were weak women, and their attitudes were very hot and enthusiastic. As a man, how could he refuse such a thing? After a while he complied. Bullshit. Qiushu's nose was crooked with anger. It was clear that she wanted to go to that kind of shameless place, but he insisted that others pulled her there, and even said that her willpower was weak, so it was not good to refuse. Bullshit, how could someone with weak willpower do such a ridiculous and shameless thing? What kind of bullshit reason was that? She had never seen such a shameless person before. Xia Ping, why isn't your name Xia Lu? This is the name that suits you the most. Qiushu gnashed her teeth and glared at Xia Ping. Xia Ping blinked his eyes. I also want to, but Xia Lu is my grandfather's name, I can't take it. What? Qiushu was dumbfounded. She felt that this family was all the same. It was inherited from their genes. Dong dong dong. At this time there was a hurried knock on the door outside the office, and then a young female teacher in a black suit walked in and said, "Teacher Qiushu, the principal is looking for Xia Ping. Is it convenient now?" "What's the matter? What is it?" Seeing that there were outsiders at the scene, Qiushu couldn't lose her temper and could only endure it. The young female teacher said, "I heard that it's about applying to Jianghu University. The principal has something to discuss with Xia Ping. Teacher Qiushu, come with us." Okay. Qiushu was helpless. Now was the time to discuss business. This matter could only be put aside for the time being. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. A few minutes later, Xia Ping and Qiushu came to the principal's office. At this time, a pot-bellied old man was standing in the office, and there was also another beautiful girl inside. This person was Jianghu. Xia Ping's eyes flashed. After more than a month, Jianghu's aura seemed to have changed completely. It seemed to be stronger, and her cultivation had advanced by leaps and bounds. If he didn't guess wrong, this chick had at least reached the 9th heavenly layer of martial arts. Okay, Xia Ping is also here. It's just the right time to talk to you about applying for Jianghu University. The principal looked at Xia Ping with a smile, looking at his school's proud student with great satisfaction. After all, the other party was a seed with the potential to be admitted to Jianghu University. In the future he would definitely be a peerless powerhouse. Now that he had a good relationship, it would also be of great benefit to the future of 95th High School. Apply for Jianghu University? Isn't it just registering online? Xia Ping asked curiously. The principal smiled slightly. Of course it's not that simple. Jianghu University is a transcendent existence even in the entire Jianghu star. It is a unique university, and its application method is completely different. The first is the threshold. You have to reach at least the 8th heavenly layer of martial arts to be eligible to apply. After that is the exam with a mortality rate of more than 50%. He stretched out 5 fingers and his tone was very serious. What? This was the first time Xia Ping had heard of this kind of thing. Although he had heard that the Jianghu University exam was very difficult and people might die, he didn't expect the mortality rate to be more than 50%. This was quite amazing. It was just a college entrance examination, but people could actually die. This was incredible. Is it strange? It's not strange at all. The principal said seriously, because Jianghu University is not an ordinary university. It is a training base for elites from all over the world. It is the frontline battlefield against tyrannical monsters. It is not training students but soldiers. Chapter 223. It's not strange for them to refuse to take the exam. The principal smiled and looked at Xia Ping. Every year there are many who reach the 8th layer of the martial disciple realm. Some even choose to give up on taking the exam. Because the death rate is too high, more than 50%. Even if a martial disciple participates, they may not survive. If they give up, those outstanding students can safely enter other top universities and continue to advance towards the peak of martial arts. There won't be any danger to their lives. A 50% death rate is too high. It's enough to make countless students shrink back. He explained to Xia Ping that there were 200 million students taking the college entrance exam each year. Only 2 million of them reached Yanhuang University's threshold, a 1% pass rate. But only 90,000 were willing to take the exam. About 10,000 students from each continent were willing to take the exam. Those who were willing to take the exam were undoubtedly elites. They were all geniuses who were full of confidence in themselves. Their futures were limitless. But even these geniuses would die. Just this number alone was enough to scare off countless students, making them tremble in fear. You can think about it, the principal said in a low voice. Even if you don't enter Yanhuang University, there are other top universities to choose from. Some even have training facilities comparable to Yanhuang University. Even if you graduate from other universities, there will occasionally be a few King Realm cultivators. They still have a bright future. There's no need to take this extremely dangerous exam. He looked at Xia Ping and just looked at him. There's no need to think about it. Sign me up. Xia Ping waved his hand, his tone very firm. If he wanted to become the strongest, he obviously had to enter the best university. Only there would he be able to receive the best training and resources. He would be able to compete with other geniuses and his chances of success would greatly increase. Of course, if he didn't have the ability, he wouldn't dream of entering Yanhuang University. Going there would be suicide. But now that he had the ability to enter Yanhuang University, if he didn't dare to enter, then he would be a coward. Even if he entered other universities, his future wouldn't be great. Sign me up too. I also want to enter Yanhuang University. Jianghu also opened her mouth. Her eyes were also incomparably firm. No one could change her mind. All right. Hearing this, the principal nodded. Since you've all decided, I won't reject you. I'll help you apply for Yanhuang University. The exam will officially start in 10 days. You'll have to come to the school for a physical examination. During this period of time, all of you should focus on improving your martial arts cultivation. That way you can increase your chances of survival. That's all. You guys go back and prepare well. He waved his hand, sending Xia Ping and Jianghu away. By the way, Teacher Qiushua, please stay. I have something to discuss with you, he said to Qiushua. Qiushu nodded and stayed. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. At this time, Xia Ping and Jianghu left the principal's office and arrived at the hallway. I haven't seen you for a while and you seem to have been promoted to the 9th heaven of martial disciple. How did you do this? Xia Ping looked at Jianghu curiously and asked. Jianghu said proudly, Humph, in this world you're not the only one who can make rapid progress. With enough resources, with my talent, wouldn't it be easy to advance to the 9th heavenly layer? And I've now reached the peak of the 9th heaven of martial disciple and touched the bottleneck of the martial warrior realm. After a while, I'll be able to clear an acupoint and step into the martial warrior realm, officially surpassing you. She felt that she was in a good mood now. When this bastard went to Black Moon City to visit prostitutes and drink around, she worked hard to cultivate and finally achieved a cultivation that was about to surpass this guy. This was also good. Let this guy see that even if he had great talent, if he didn't work hard, he would be caught up by others. After all, there were countless geniuses in this world, and you weren't the only one who was strong. Really? I'm sorry, I've been promoted to the martial warrior realm a long time ago. Xia Ping looked at Jianghu with a smile. What? Hearing this, Jianghu was stunned. She felt as if she had been struck by lightning. She couldn't believe it. This bastard only went to Black Moon City to drink around and didn't cultivate seriously. How could he be promoted to the martial warrior realm like this? It was too ridiculous. Impossible. When did you break through? Jianghu bit her lip, unwilling to accept this. Xia Ping stood with his hands behind his back, revealing the appearance of a martial master. I don't know either. I just cultivated like this and somehow broke through. There were no bottlenecks at all. I guess this is what they mean by success when the conditions are right. Cultivation is like this. You can be strong without desires. Sometimes too much hard work is a bad thing. Taking a proper rest will burst forth with martial inspiration and naturally break through effortlessly. Bullshit, keep on bullshitting. Jianghu wanted nothing more than to take a brick and slap this shameless bastard's face. She didn't want to see this guy's smug look for even a second. He was just a rookie in the martial warrior realm, and he was pretending to be a martial master here, giving pointers to the world. If she didn't know this bastard's character, she might have really believed him. Even if you can't be too hard, the problem is, have you ever been hard? You've all gone to Black Moon City, a dirty place to fool around playing with all kinds of women. How is this a proper rest? It's clearly depravity. There's no justice in this world. If such a bad guy can break through to the martial warrior realm so easily, what about those who cultivate hard every day but still can't break through? Especially a diligent person like her, she simply can't accept this kind of thing. Humph. Jianghu glared at Xiaoping angrily. You continue to show off. Let's see how embarrassed you will be in this Yanhuang University exam. I will definitely pass this Yanhuang University exam and surpass you in the future. After dropping this sentence, she turned and left, leaving only a graceful back view. In the evening, Xiaoping returned home after school. At this time, his father Xia Chuanlu and mother Huang Lanxin had just returned from a global trip. In the past month or so, they had almost visited several famous tourist cities around the world. The family had also bought a bunch of specialties. Son, you're back. Xia Chuanlu's eyes lit up when he saw Xiaoping come back. I heard that you went to Black Moon City for more than a month this time. Cough cough, no, it should be more like playing for more than a month. By the way, did you learn anything? Of course, Dad, I also believe that you're not that kind of absurd and shameless person. I guess as a novelist, you want to go to that kind of place to experience the people's feelings, increase some social experience and accumulate novel material. Chapter 224. Why do you ask so much? Do you also want to go to that kind of place, and by the way, you also want to understand the people and increase your social experience? His mother Huang Lanxin narrowed her eyes and stared at him with a very bad face. It seemed that if he answered wrong, she would let him sleep on the sofa tonight. Ahem. Seeing this, Xia Chuanlu coughed instinctively and shouted, Wife, don't you know what kind of person I am? Loyal and honest, pure and down to earth. That's the kind of person I am. A man like me is hard to find in this materialistic society. It's not an exaggeration to say that I'm a rare animal. I never go to such absurd and shameless places like lovely Spring Courtyard and Tavern Heaven on Earth. I've never even heard of them. I won't go even if I have money. To be honest, how can those women compare to my wife? I don't know if they are sick. He put on a look of awe-inspiring righteousness. Xiaoping's mouth twitched. If he hadn't heard of such a place, how could his father say that? His father's ability to lie with his eyes open is first class. However, his mother Huang Lanxin didn't seem to hear anything wrong, so she let him go for the time being. That. Xiaoping also changed the topic. I have something to tell you. Recently, I got a villa in Jiangnan district. The environment there is beautiful and the security measures are complete. Let's move tomorrow. What? Xia Chuanlu stared at his son with a pair of bull eyes and shouted, You got a villa in Jiangnan district? No, do you know what Jiangnan district is? It is the most high-end villa area in the entire Tianshui city. Do you know who lives in it? Either rich or expensive. These people are all worth more than 10 billion or they are members of Tianshui city, powerful big shots. Each of the villas inside is worth more than 1 billion federal coins, and even money can't buy them. He couldn't believe what his ears had heard. His mother Huang Lanxin was also stunned, looking at her son, and it was very hard to believe. Really, I got a villa and I can go see it tomorrow. It's no problem to carry a bag and move in. Xiaoping nodded, his expression was very calm, and he could go to the villa at any time. Because that kind of high-end villa is all controlled by intelligent systems such as fingerprint system, pupil system, and so on. The giant company has already entered his information into this system. As long as Xiaoping goes over, he can immediately open the door and verify his personal identity without a key. Oh my God, son, why are you so awesome? You can even buy a villa in Jiangnan district. Why don't you go to heaven? Are you making so much money by writing novels now? You can buy a villa at will? Xia Chuanlu was dumbstruck. I didn't earn it by writing novels. Xiaoping waved his hand. It was estimated that he couldn't afford such a villa just by writing novels. After all, buying a villa in Jiangnan district required not only money, but more importantly, power. Without the giant company's permission, even if ordinary people had money, they wouldn't be able to move in. Xia Chuanlu seemed to have thought of something. Looking at his son, he said in shock, "Could it be that you met a rich woman during your trip to Black Moon City, and became her sugar mommy? So she gave you a villa in Jiangnan district." "But this is normal, son. You are the champion of the fighting competition, you are strong, and you have inherited your father's excellent genes. Your charm is off the charts, so it is understandable that you are targeted by the rich woman. But if there is such a good thing, why didn't she call Dad? Maybe she can give you another villa." He showed a sad look and was very regretful. "You think too much." Xia Ping looked at his extremely thick-skinned father speechlessly and explained, "This is the villa that the company gave me when I joined the giant company. This is the employee benefit." "Join the giant company?" Hearing this, Father Xia Chuanlu and Mother Huang Lanxin immediately understood. Who doesn't know the famous giant company in Yanhuang Star? It is a super giant, an overlord existence. Being able to join the giant company as an official employee is simply a golden rice bowl, which is many times better than being the mayor of Tianshui City. Even the governor has to come to flatter and flatter them. No wonder you can get a villa in Jiangnan district. If it is the benefit of the giant company, then it is too normal. Even if you get a villa in Jinghua City, the capital of Yangzhou district, it is not a big problem. Mother Huang Lanxin also knows very well what kind of terrifying existence the giant company is. Her son joining it is like a carp leaping over the dragon gate and ascending to the sky in one step. But this matter needs to be kept secret for the time being, and can only be announced after graduation from university. Xia Ping said. He doesn't want the matter of him joining the giant company to be known by all the relatives around him. At that time there will be a lot of trouble. Of course we will not talk casually. Huang Lanxin also nodded seriously. She also found that some big companies have a strict confidentiality mechanism. Perhaps because of this they are not allowed to talk casually. "Oh my God, I didn't expect that I, Xia Chuanlu, can live in a villa one day. I'm rich, I'm rich." Xia Chuanlu confirmed that this is true. After Xia Ping did not lie, he suddenly became a little nervous. "Son, you are going to live in the villa tomorrow. How do you think you can pretend to live in the villa often? Can you cross your legs when you live in the villa? Things like spitting on the ground shouldn't be done in the villa, right? What kind of clothes will show my identity tomorrow? I will wear 2 pieces of cheap winter clothes that I bought online for 50 yuan. I won't be looked down upon by others, right? Oh my God, I'm too nervous. This feeling is similar to the first time you brought your pregnant mother to see your father-in-law." He stood up and paced back and forth nervously. "Do whatever you want." Xia Ping's mouth twitched and looked at his father unhappily. Early the next morning, Xia Chuanlu combed his hair back and wore a wrinkled suit that he hadn't worn for more than 10 years. He wore a pair of shiny black leather shoes and a pair of ink glasses. He looked like a gangster from 20 years ago. Mother Huang Lanxin also wore a painted plaid shirt and heavy makeup. She held her father's left arm and followed him step by step. She was very nervous as she set off. However, everything went smoothly. Xia Ping and his family came to the villa in Jiangnan district. No one stopped them. Everything was operated by an intelligence system. The guard at the door verified Xia Ping's identity and was let in. Along the way, every villa they passed was strictly guarded, and the people around would not come out easily as if there was no one there. The villa where Xia Ping lived covered an area of 3,000 square meters. It had a back garden, swimming pool, practice room, storage room, garage, kitchen, entertainment room, etc. It was very luxurious. In this way, Xia Ping and his family lived in a villa in Tianshui City, Jiangnan district. Chapter 225. This morning. Who? Xia Ping sat cross-legged in the practice room of the villa. He took a deep breath and the air gushed out, condensing into a substance like a white chain shooting out, containing terrible power, condensing and not dispersing. Then he slowly opened his eyes, revealing a terrifying light. Sure enough, the effect of Bai Luo Dan is good. He revealed a smile. Bai Luo Dan was delivered by the courier of the giant company the next morning. Xia Ping also signed for it and then took it. The effect was excellent and the true qi in his body increased. After about 10 days of cultivation, Xia Ping felt that the true qi in his body had greatly increased, filling all the acupoints in his body, and his true qi had become extremely strong, reaching the peak of the 2nd heaven of the warrior realm. Just one step away from breaking through to the 3rd heaven of the warrior realm. And Xiaoping's combat effectiveness was completely different from before, at least 30% higher. Because during this time he also seriously practiced Kunpeng steps, head nail 7 arrows technique, dark north body protection technique, etc., more familiar with his current strength, and his combat effectiveness had greatly increased. It could be said that his combat effectiveness was now at its peak, incomparably perfect. It's time to go to school for a medical examination. Xiaoping left the villa, took a taxi, and arrived at Tianshui City 95th High School in 10 minutes. As soon as he arrived at the school, he immediately saw a black warship landing in the school playground. It was 2 or 3 times larger than the previous spaceship, loaded with various high-tech weapons and had tyrannical force. On the outer shell of the spaceship there were a few big words: Yanhuang University. Obviously this warship belonged to Yanhuang University. At this time the principal, the dean, the teacher, Jianghu, and the others also came to the school playground, but there were no other students around. Because in the entire Tianshui City 95th High School, only Xiaoping and Jianghu were qualified to take the entrance examination of Yanhuang University. With a bang, the door of the warship opened, and a dozen warriors in white armor walked out. Each of them exuded a terrible murderous aura. "Everyone is here? Come in." One of the middle-aged warriors came forward. He seemed to be the captain of this group of warriors. He glanced around and said, "Come in, accept a physical examination and leave immediately after passing." "Let's go," the principal said to Xiaoping and Jianghu. They couldn't follow them, so they could only stay where they were. Hearing this, Xiaoping and Jianghu immediately boarded the black warship. Under the guidance of the soldiers, the two of them separated, each going to a different room. After all, men and women were different. After entering the room, a few white-robed doctors came over and instructed Xiaoping to lie on the bed and begin the physical examination. Beep. The purple light scanned over, seemingly penetrating Xiaoping's body. It detected various data: blood, muscles, bones, organs, and so on. It was as if all the secrets of his body had been seen through. At the side there was an optical computer screen, displaying all sorts of data. A series of numbers appeared, making a schwa-schwa sound. A few minutes later, a mechanical voice rang out. "Martial artist second heaven, no signs of overdrafting potential with drugs, no signs of taking banned drugs. Everything is normal. You may participate in the entrance examination of Yanhuang University." Hearing this, Xiaoping breathed a sigh of relief. He knew that the physical examination was over. "Good boy, martial artist second heaven." A middle-aged soldier walked over and looked at Xiaoping with a bit of surprise. "Looks like you're also a commoner. Your family doesn't have much money, so you shouldn't be able to buy precious pills. You eat monster meat every day, but you've already reached martial artist second heaven?" Even though he was experienced and knowledgeable, it was rare for him to see such a genius. If Xiaoping came from a big family, he wouldn't be surprised. Those big families were rich in resources and ate all kinds of natural treasures every day. As long as you weren't a pig, your martial arts cultivation would progress rapidly. But he was a commoner. This was incredible. There's nothing strange about it. Talent is just like that. Xiaoping's face was calm as he walked down from the bed and said in a loud voice. Hearing this, the middle-aged soldier's mouth twitched. "Your shameless look is really asking for a beating. But forget it. Since you've passed the physical examination, you can participate in Yanhuang University's entrance examination. The results of the physical examination will be recorded on your student microchip. There's no way to fake it." This was the first time he heard someone boast like this. Although it was the truth, it was still very annoying. "I'm going to take the exam now?" Xiaoping blinked. The middle-aged soldier waved his hand. "There's no hurry. We'll first send all the candidates from Tianshui City to Yangzhou District's capital, Jinghua City. Then we'll rest there for the night and head to the exam site the next day." He explained that the candidates from every continent would be gathered in the capital of the continent. This way it would be convenient to transport them. "The physical examination is over. Go rest in the lounge. All the candidates from Tianshui City who are taking the exam are there." He told Xiaoping to leave the examination room. Xiaoping turned around and left. He also happened to see Jianghu finish the physical examination. Obviously, he also passed the physical examination without any accidents. The two moved together and arrived at the lounge of the warship. They immediately saw many familiar faces such as Qin Muyang from the first middle school, Feng Hetong, Nangong Wu, Chu Rong, and so on. The most outstanding students from Tianshui City were gathered here to participate in Yanhuang University's entrance examination. But looking around, there were only 40 to 50 people. There were at least 3,000 people in Tianshui City who met the requirements for Yanhuang University's entrance examination, but only a few dozen people wanted to participate. It seemed that the deputy mayor's son Lu Liang didn't come. One could imagine how terrifying Yanhuang University's entrance examination was. The 50% mortality rate had scared off countless candidates. Some of the children of the big families didn't dare to play around with their lives and had given up. "Big brother, you're here." Seeing Xiaoping arrive, Feng Hatang immediately walked up and greeted him enthusiastically. It was almost no different from a lackey. In fact, ever since he saw Xiaoping's power at the banquet, he had made up his mind to hold on to Xiaoping's thigh. After all, Xiaoping was a member of the giant corporation and a future King Realm powerhouse. If he could hold on to such a thick thigh, he wouldn't have to be afraid of anything in the future. In fact, his father had hinted to Feng Hatang to curry favor with Xiaoping. "Big brother, come, sit here. There's a good seat by the window. The air is good." Feng Hatang nodded and bowed. He was very enthusiastic and immediately invited Xiaoping to sit. At the same time, he said to Jianghu, "Sister-in-law, sit with us too." "Who's your sister-in-law?" Jianghu glared and bared her teeth. She was half dead from anger, but she couldn't resist fatty Feng Hatang's enthusiasm. She could only reluctantly sit down. "Not bad, little Feng really knows how to conduct himself. You've made some progress recently." Xiaoping was very satisfied. He put on the air of a leader. "Little Feng." Hearing this, Qin Muyang and the others all bared their teeth. He really dared to say that. This bastard was of the same generation as them. Everyone's status was the same, so they could talk to each other as peers. But now he actually dared to call him Little Feng. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.